And the video.
No,
We'll go
We're like
as
some
well.
dancers in the background.
Yeah.
It's live. That's
that would be
live.
awesome. Pole dancers in the background.
Mind your manners.
That's right. That's right. Everyone be good.
Hello, World Wide Web.
Yes.
All right.
Hello, America.
You can see that.
Scott, we just started trying this, and there's like 2 dudes on the other side of that screen. So,
No, about 50 people end up watching it.
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You mean 50 people live or 50
Live.
people like for the next month?
Probably the next 2 weeks or so. Yeah. So far, but while it's live, maybe like 10, 12 people have been watching it. But
Yeah, the podcast downloads remain our main way of reaching out.
more
to the
people
world.
listen to it than they
Yeah.
would
Well,
watch.
we had Brandon Perna did it initially, and there was like 200,000 people watch it or something.
Well, that was like
ridiculous.
like 1,200 people watched that like right off the bat. So that was
A little
There's
exaggeration.
a big difference between 1,200 and 200,000.
A little exaggeration.
Hey, we're going to pay you
Something like
1,200 for
that.
next year. Is that okay?
all right. I'm ready to go.
I'm
If
ready
you
to
guys
go.
are ready to go. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. You guys ready to rock this?
Sure.
Hold on. Wait. You ready?
We have red music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There it goes.
Live from the Sportique Studios, where we've been working around the clock to bring you all the exciting Broncos free agent signings, such as Case Keenum and, well, Case Keenum. This is the South Stands Denver Fan. Yeah! I'm Colin Daniels with producer Scott Stafford, the man who holds the NBA record for consecutive games without a steal, the legendary broadcaster Scott Hastings, and your host, it's going down in this town.
Seriously, this is how radio should start every day. You guys are getting some of the ideas already.
There you go. You can use those.
Yeah, we know how this idea thing works, Crackman.
Yeah. Nick
Steal.
Lombardi
Steal.
stealing our ideas all the damn time. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's wonderful to be back with you. We have a real treat. It's been a long time coming, but we finally got him here. Scott Hastings is with us. It is awesome. It is awesome for you to be here. Cheers.
Cheers. God
Cheers.
bless.
It's
You know,
great.
you know what a meme is, right, Scott? I mean, I know you're a man of
It's
the
a guy that's
scene.
not very nice.
You've been kind of a meme around this show for a long time because we've kind of joked that you might be coming in, and so to have it really happen is awesome.
It is
We're really
awesome.
super
But have you
glad
guys
you're here.
ever? I think I was invited like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, at least.
I've only been invited once.
Oh,
and
no,
then you and I've been following you more and more, and I try to retweet you. Think,
Oh, God, I'm getting in trouble.
Oh, maybe he'll retweet me one time. I don't know. And I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. Colin, he retweeted me one time.
Wow.
And then also we just reached out somehow, right? And
Yeah, I probably DM'd you. You know,
Yeah, and I said,
slid into your
"Yeah, did you ever
DMs.
think about doing that?" So yeah, sure.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you. And I think like Colin said, we've talked about it for years, and we always thought you would be great. You'd have a good time on here. So hopefully we won't get you in too much
Well,
trouble.
I kind of feel like it's really kind of this signifies my career. Like I've been on David Letterman, and now I'm on the South Stand.
There you go.
I mean,
Wow.
I keep elevating it, I guess, right? I don't know.
That's one way to put it, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
So
Hey, I got free beer. Letterman didn't give me free beer.
That's right,
So,
yeah. you get the beer. We got to have beer because, this is another thing in radio too, is ideally you're not supposed to drink. Maybe somebody
right.
does, but we can have a couple beers, get a little loose, by the end it gets pretty.
Which is how sports talk and sports radio really, and the way I look at what sports talk should be, it should be a bunch of people just sitting around the bar talking.
Absolutely.
Not just dudes. It used to be dudes, but now we got to include the women in there too.
Sure, we
I work
do.
with the,
Like in our fantasy hockey leagues, got to let the girls in there.
We
Gotta let
do,
girls-
we do.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
Sit around, have a couple pops, right?
Yeah, and that's what we've always, kind of tried to do along the way, and you see more and more of it happening. I think in kind of more mainstream media. I know, Bill Simmons is doing real well with his podcast,
Right.
and
The Ringer,
in the Ringer, it's still the Bill Simmons podcast on the Ringer network, but it's not really unlike what we do, right down to the uncomfortable moments and the F-bombs.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we've been doing this. Will be 9 years this September when the Broncos season starts up. So we're really trying to make it to that 10 years before
9
we
years.
finally fall apart.
Why don't you say it's like on my show?
I don't know.
Because nobody's ever called us. And asked
You know,
us
I never thought about that. Well, you know, you can't do the F-bombs on
That's true.
Well, you know what
radio.
I'll confess a secret desire of mine, and I've confided in a few people, is to have done the summit. I always wanted to be on the summit.
He has complained about that.
Yeah.
Why didn't you?
I thought it would have been so much fun to go on the summit.
And then he threw it out there, and a couple people were like, "Yeah, buddy, sure," and they just kind of like, you know.
I don't think they do the summit anymore.
No, they don't do it anymore. But one year when Alfred and I were doing it, Jerome Jurenovich, remember, was hosting it originally,
Mm-hmm.
and they brought one guy in, some fan, and once a week would come in and do that.
Oh, geez.
Well, we have done real radio before, and we cleaned up real nice. We cleaned the language up. We put that mom filter on where you don't swear. So we were able to do it. So if anyone wants to put us on, we're definitely we're into it. So
Yeah, I think we subbed for Peter Burns and Mark Kisla.
yeah,
On the
You
press
guys
box.
said you did real radio.
Oh!
it's already started. It's nice. It's good
Good
stuff.
stuff.
One thing we got tons to ask you. I know Colin and I were talking about it today. He's got a bunch of stuff written down. But one thing I was thinking, it just came to me today. When you went to the NBA, started in the early 80s, if there was social media back then, how in trouble would everyone be?
It would not have been good. It would have been bad. Yeah, it'd have been bad. It's kind of funny, and I almost feel for some of those guys, but after a while, we know the world we live in now.
Yeah.
And so when Ezekiel Elliott sit there in the sleep and some chick's taking a picture, I'd be like, stupid. I mean,
Well, who was the last one last week? It was the wide receiver.
Odell Beckham.
Odell Beckham.
Beckham.
There's clearly a beer.
Got blow on the table.
Yeah.
He's smoking the blood.
And I love how the media says a suspicious white powder. Come on,
Yeah.
we all know what that is. There's a credit card.
Now
line
hold
next
on.
to it.
Right now, I'm giving one of my dogs some medicine, and it comes in a little white powder in a little
Do you
bag.
chop it up on a mirror?
I
with a credit
actually won't take it any other way.
With an expired visa.
So,
She'll always snort it through a $100 bill. Otherwise,
Yeah. But I was thinking that today, and I thought, Instagram and and Twitter and everything, and just how somebody can say something. The dude the other day, he was walking and he wouldn't give the kid the autograph.
Oh yeah,
I can't think of who it was.
He was a Dallas Mavericks.
And they
player.
everyone
Larry
just,
Nance Jr. Everyone was down on it.
Everyone just
wait a
gave a
minute. That kid was asking Larry Nance Jr. for his autograph.
Come on.
If I'm Larry Nance Jr., I'm signing whatever I can get my hands
Well, that's
on.
probably true. That's probably why everyone gave him grief. So, but yeah, I thought about that, and it just seems like it's a different time now.
It is a different time. I will say this about the autograph thing because I've always said this, and it happens even to the great ones. I remember Kevin McHale, when Larry Bird retired, said someday there'll be kids not know who that is, and you're like, oh, come on, that's Larry. Well, it's true. There's kids now, guys playing in the NBA probably don't even remember what Larry Bird ever was or did. But I always thought, to me, there's going to come a time no one wants your autograph. And listen, I never even probably got to the heights of Larry Nance Jr. I probably would have had to carry Larry Nance Jr. shoes. That's where my career was. But I'm like thinking, dude, I mean, there's going to come a time no one's even, I'm just a tall guy in the corner, right? Hunched over and crying with a tin cup. So I've always felt that,
Sure.
you can, might as well.
Well, you look in great shape for being
an old fat
for
guy?
being an older guy. I mean, you're only about 10 years older than I am, but for big guys, because big guys, like you said, hunched
They get
over,
big.
they get big, and they're used to moving, and if they don't, then they kind of look at Colin. I mean, that's right there.
I'm moving as much as I can.
But you look good.
I'm an advertiser for Low T Center. Give Low T Center a call right now, lowtcenter.com.
Exactly.
Why not be a
Your
sponsor?
logo here.
You guys are prime candidates.
It clearly works. You've got a 4-year-old dog. So that's testimony alone, right there. But no, it's interesting. You mentioned he's about 10 years older than you are, and we're about 10 years older than the Kreckman universe, the Lindsey Joneses and Peter Burns and all, that whole tier of people who have been so good to us over the years coming in and doing the show. They're almost equidistant in age.
You know what
to us
Strat
as
said?
Scott.
I didn't forget I said that. I don't want people to know how old I am. I'm young. I'm a young guy. Remember? So
28 forever, baby.
Hey, when I first started, I started working with Dave, and I remember going with Dave Logan, and I remember going to Dave's, gosh, I got to get this right now, 40th birthday party. And it was right when we had just started working, over 20 years ago. But he never ever. He always gave his age about 3 or 4 years under, and I'm like, dude, what's wrong? You're 43. Who cares? And now all of a sudden you get 57, which I am. You're like, yeah. When I talk on the radio, yeah, hey, I'm in my 50s.
Yeah.
You forget the other years.
Yeah, right.
I get what he was doing back then.
No, I've done that on Twitter. I'm like, well, I'm being in my 40s now. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in my 40s technically. I'm pushing the outer.
You're in there until they tell you. Yeah.
That's right.
So you bring up your time with Logan, and I want to knock this out because it's the first thing on my topic list. I was your biggest fan. I was Sports View. No, that show. I was a sports show. I was a devotee. I had to have it. I listened to it at work. I never missed that show. What I loved about it, and it was part of the inspiration for how I like to do this show. It was guy talk. It was solid guy talk. Right. You talked about relationships and family and life and what's going on. And I recall a story. I remember a story very clearly. I was in traffic listening to you talk to Dave, and you were talking about having a shower with your son and peeing in the shower,
right,
and not crossing the streets. And I just thought, well, what I thought at the time, it was a great story.
I was at the YMCA, yeah, my kid,
yeah, and don't cross the streets. And I remember thinking that was so courageous a thing to just brashly bring up. And it was just,
he's talked about this for years.
It was very open. It was very. It made something click in me about what I want in talk, whether it was political or sports or whatever. I've always digested an amazing amount of talk radio. That's what I like. I like rawness and sincerity and honesty, and you've always offered that in your career. And for the time you spent with Dave Logan, I thought you guys did an epic show.
The funny thing about that, because I still get people to talk about it. It's kind of a rite of passage, and actually, I think you're blending two stories because it was the first time I took my son out the back door to go pee in the backyard. I mean, that's like a rite of passage.
Why have a yard if you're not going to pee in it?
Exactly. I don't have any idea why. It's also a rite of passage. And my wife at the time would get all upset. We start talking about that, and then guys, all of a sudden they start turning into women urinating in the shower. And also, we got Lisa McCaffrey called us, who's like the golden mom now. She got kids in every level, like dominating pro football, college football, and high school football. She's calling, I do it all. And we did an entire show, and I think that day Susie Ward and I were doing a show.
You were, yeah, I remember this.
And it was, we did 3 hours of people calling and confessing of leaking in the shower.
That's awesome.
It was a brilliant shot. That was the beauty of that show. Because I didn't know anything about radio. I didn't, I just talked. I was like you said, we owned the show. I thought I'd just go in there and talked and had fun. We did a whole show one time talking about me eating squirrel. and my aunts, I guess my great aunt, because my grandmother's sister's husband used to hunt squirrel all the time.
Sure.
You go there at Thanksgiving, there's a turkey, there's this, and there's Mr. Squirrel over there.
Sure.
Not a big deal. We did a whole show on people eating crazy food. We had Reggie McDaniel. Remember the late great Rockin' Reggie? The way we got him introduced to the show, he called in and said, if you're on a desert island and you had to eat a monkey, a dog, or a cat, what would you eat? And he comes in and says, well, I've eaten all 3. I was in the Army. I go, really? He goes, yeah, I had dog in South Korea. I had a monkey in Vietnam.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, where'd you have cat? He goes, well, I'm East St. Louis. It was a Chinese restaurant. I had it. They busted him the next night. And so that started Rockin' Reggie's career for us. So yeah, I'm with you. I love sports, but it's tough for me. It's tough for me to just do sports. I want to talk live. I want to talk to real world.
And I think guy talk and sports. I think sports offer the perfect backdrop for guy talk, and the perfect excuse to be there. I mean, you put a baseball on the logo, and you give people a reason to tune in, and then you entertain them.
Well, what do we say? We offer at least 10% sports on this. At least 10%,
right,
and then the rest could be anything.
But life is life, and listen, tragedy follows life around. And the thing working with Dave at KOA. We were on there during the Oklahoma City bombing. We were on there at 9/11. I mean, we were there at Columbine. we were there some tragic days. And guess what? You're not come out and say, hey, well, the Broncos, you got to get into life. You better be grounded enough to be real. And to this day, I still am amazed because seriously, I cry. I can watch an AT&T commercial and bawl. But these announcers that can go on news programs or talk programs and talk civil with somebody who lost a kid to cancer or somebody. I'm sitting there go, whoa, and I don't know how they do it. But but it's a world.
Another example of that I can think of is Michael Roberts at Westward. He writes about some of the most horrific and tragic stuff just day after day after day. And I asked him once, I direct messaged him on Twitter. I said, Michael, how do you do it? And he's like, humor. I need humor in my life. And I think if you ask Kyle Clark, he'd say the same thing. He maintains a sense of humor because you have to. I mean, think about all of the horrible things he has to bring to the viewer every single day.
It crushes me. That's hard, but it's also real. And it's also, I mean, what the world is. We were a sports show when 9/11 happened. I don't even know if you guys you probably remember it. I mean, we went for the next 3 months. There was no funny stuff. There was no joke stuff.
KOA was where I started 9/11. I woke up that morning. I heard on KOA that an aircraft had hit the World Trade Center. I walked out to the living room where my wife was sitting there with a cup of coffee, standing in front of the TV, shocked out of her mind. And there we stayed for the entire day. And man, it's an incredible thing.
Yeah, you can't start doing fart jokes when once that's going on. You can't really dip into that. You got to wait a little while, give it a little bit of room to breathe. So.
Is it too early? I mean, that was one of the. Seriously,
now it's okay.
We announced again. We sat there and we ended up having Gunny Bob. Remember?
Yes.
And we had Gunny Bob in for like 3 months, and we talked military strategies, different stuff like this. Blah blah blah. And I'm doing that because Dave was in football September, so he's coaching football. So it's me and Gunny Bob for a couple months, really talking. I mean, I'm learning world stuff and security stuff, blah 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 blah. And it's fascinating to me, but it's the same thing. Once you start doing that for 3 months, you're like, dude, I gotta laugh. I got some of them police breaking in on the air, which I also did on KOA one time live. And Dave and I sat there in a little room and literally cried for 30 straight minutes and couldn't even talk on the radio. And everybody knew that I broke wind. So,
how did that show end? And was it a contract thing? Like it was just time, or? It's always such a bummer. It's always such a bummer to see something like that go away.
There's 5 people. I was doing the show by myself, and Dave was doing high school football, and he would come in the last hour of the show. But I basically kind of had to control the show while he was doing high school football. And they had offered me a contract. And I said, okay, I went in and signed it. And they go, well, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if the program director at the time went to the general manager at the time. I don't know what it was. Said, well, let's sit there and think, how about if we do a month? And I'm like, okay, they want to see what the ratings are with me. They don't think that I'm any good or something. Now I've been there for 11 years, 12 years. And I said, fine, I'll do a 3-month deal. And then at the end of this, which turns out just right after the book would come out, they would do the deal. Book comes out, we're 4th in ratings. We had high ratings, and I'm, primarily by myself. Dave would come in for the last hour. And the book was great. Everything was great. They came back and said, hey, we got that deal now. And now I'm doing PO because I knew you didn't really believe in me, and you pulled this back. I mean, we agreed to the deal, and now you pull it back. So now I'm really PO'd. Well, in that interim, I was also doing the Nugget stuff too. And Matt Hutchings, who's the COO of KSC, said, listen, we want you full time. We want you to come here, boom, boom, boom. It was a nice deal. It was less than I was making at KOA, to be honest with you. But it was a nice deal. And I was hurt, to be honest with you, because I've given you 12 years. I was doing the Broncos at the time also, doing the shows. The shows were good. And to be honest with you, I was angry. And then when Matt Hutchings and KSC stepped up and said, hey, we'd like you to come. And like I said, it was a lot less. But it was, they made you feel like they wanted you. They wanted me. And at the time, KOA didn't act like that. And I said, sorry, I'm signing with KSC as soon as my contract's done. And that was kind of the end of the show. And Dave and I to this day are still great friends. We don't go to dinner every night or anything like that, but we'll see each other and we hug and everything. And we go right back into the routine. It is someday, I firmly believe, maybe you guys, we ought to get me and Logs in here someday.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
To do a show. I think he'd love it. I think it was me. I think he would love to do it. But I think someday he and I will do a show again someday. And I'm doing it with Julie now, who was actually our first producer. She was our first
Are you
producer.
kidding me? I didn't.
She was our first producer when Dave and I first started.
At KOA.
At KOA.
Look,
I'll be damned.
We've got a studio for you guys. You can do it
Do it
live
right here.
right
Free
here.
beer.
Yeah,
I don't know if Dave
exactly.
drinks beer anymore. I don't know. He's in really good shape.
That's awesome. That's good. Well, listen, we're definitely gonna go overtime. We have to. We gotta, I'm already extending the first quarter. We do it in quarters, Scott. So we do it. We'll do a first quarter. We usually do 15 minutes, but for you, we're gonna go longer because
I talk too much. By the way.
No,
I
it's
keep
fine.
getting yelled at by Marilyn because I always miss the break. So
Oh, really?
I ain't that guy.
Oh no, it's fine. We're good. We will utilize your talking as much as we can. We've got a lot to cover, I think, right, Colin?
Yeah, we want to pack this thing full.
We do. Yeah, we want to pack it full. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more.
Sorry, guys. I kind of start talking.
No, it's fine.
no.
Just remember, this is live. That's still live. So
Keep your opinions of Les Shapiro to yourself.
whatever
as
you
long as
can,
that's
whatever
on.
you say can be used against you there. So
I honestly have tried to live my life, and we've all been guilty of it because we do it. But I try to not ever say anything that I wouldn't say
to your
to
mom.
the guy's face.
Or to
the
your
guy's
face,
face. If I was at Colin's an a-hole, I think he's better. And
You think that, and you'll, No, it's a lot easier way to go about things. In the end, spend a lot less time shoveling.
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm learning my way around slowly. It's taken me a lot of time to get this kind of shit hammered out.
There we get picture Scott.
I got this one great big. I was hoping you'd meet him, but he left before he got here. 6'8" hoss from Missouri.
Who else
Working
comes
for
with
me,
Stephen
been my
Hawking
service manager
record,
for
huh?
5,
Is that a
7
Stephen
years now.
Hawking record? Is him talking?
And
Stephen
he's
and
leaving.
Carl Sagan,
He's
yeah.
fucking constantly
That's
living here. He wants to buy a house.
They're
He's
nice
newly
looking
married. They want
records.
to buy a house,
Hold
have
on.
kids, and he's going to Savannah, Georgia, where median home price is $210,
And they're nice.
and they're
It's
nice.
like a 3,000 square feet, too.
And he's got beach.
Yeah.
So
So we got
Scott on the
turntables.
No.
First time
I live in
ever.
Atlanta. Savannah is.
Make
That's
sure
all-
to show
I mean,
that.
it looks like
Yep.
it could
Scott's
still be the
back.
Civil War.
Spanish
Florida,
moss.
Spanish moss. Oh, it's unbelievable.
yeah, so he's excited about it, and it sounds like he did his research and picked
This
this.
way.
I'm bummed because I'm gonna be missing out on that. Missing him, but yeah, he's
We're doing good
he
out
reminded me
there.
a lot.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Enjoying the show.
You know, he's eating a squirrel.
Your logo here.
He's kind of a back.
We're gonna advertise.
Awesome.
Put you right here.
So when I was at KOA, I used to produce Reggie McDaniels on the weekends, and I love Reggie.
Right? One of the greatest.
The greatest thing I loved about him, though, is when there was no one was on the line.
Right.
He's going into commercial, and he's like, "All right, David and Susan and Janet, stay with me right now. We have one line open," and
Yeah, you know,
and there was no one on the line.
Learn that from?
And
We see that all Dave. Dave was the king of that. Oh yeah. I said, Bob and Tom, hold on a second. We'll get back to you on the other side. Hold on. We got a couple lines open. Oh yeah, that was.
that all makes sense. Then. It was awesome. And then the lines, I instantaneously, I got like 5 phone
Yeah.
calls. It's
Oh,
like,
we can't talk to him. Oh, we got to come in.
Yeah. He was great. I really
He was a good dude, though. I mean, he was a good dude.
Oh yeah.
Genuine dude.
Uh-huh.
I mean, wasn't polished, but he believed in what he believed in, and he loved, going to movies and restaurants. And
Yeah, I mean that's just on weekends. I had a lot of fun. I wasn't at KOA for too long, but I had a ton of fun there. And I did at that time it was Reggie, Dan Kaplis, and Dan DeRue, and it was those three.
God,
in a
that's
row
a name I haven't heard
that,
forever.
yeah, well, I see him on TV now. He's
He was
I think
with Channel
Fox or
2
something.
forever. Is he with Fox?
I don't even know.
He was funny though.
Oh, he was great.
Dan DeRue was funny
Yeah.
on the TV stuff.
Mm-hmm. He was great.
He's funny.
He'd come in with his camera because he was a cameraman.
Yeah.
So he'd come with his camera. He'd come in with it.
Yeah.
And they'll set it down.
He would do
and-
stuff because I was working Channel 2 with Jim Conrad, and he would, when we go on remote stuff, he would be our character, and he was always hilarious.
He was great.
Oh,
Yeah. And he was married to Wendy Brockman.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I assume they still are. But I mean, she was a big deal at that point in time. I don't know what happened.
So what do you do in the real life, the real world?
Johnny.
Oh, me or him?
You.
Oh, so okay, so the
It seems like this is a big setup.
well,
Do you need a whisper? Can you
no,
turn
no.
it?
Okay, let's put it this way. I'm just trying to put it. I always try to put it in a way people understand. So, in when you go into your studio, you're gonna go up and you're gonna go up to the studio. You ride in the elevator, right? So if someone has come in and carved a big penis in the door, we will remove that penis and make the door look nice and new again. That's it. That's the very short version.
So you're a craftsman.
Kind of.
Yeah. And John's penis removal had a bad connotation to
I
it.
changed the name.
He
after-
changed
yeah.
the name.
But no, it's my
You don't call
family.
it
My
that
dad started a long time ago.
John's penis removal service.
So will you do building stuff like people graffiti it or do anything like that? Will you do
just
all that
yeah,
stuff?
just like in elevator metal and stuff like that. So office buildings and things. So that's the abridged version of it. So very very glamorous. Yeah.
All right, read and then questions.
Get ready to rock and roll.
I'm ready to
Rock
go.
to
If
the,
you guys
oh,
are
you know
ready.
what? Let me get some levels really quick on questions. Just make sure. I
Level.
don't
Level.
I don't
Level
know.
up.
I'm not sure where.
Check
Who's
out
the worst
my
guest you
level.
ever had when you guys are going to be in here and you went, oh my God, really?
Oh, the worst?
And you're like, why do we have him on? Or her?
It was a her.
Wait a minute. Maybe you should
It was a her. And she was,
What do we?
she was a sweetheart and very smart, but not entertaining. And John kept having to extract more. And she was the opposite of you in terms of verboseness. She was like the polar opposite.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long
Yeah,
time.
long
That was
time.
the most. That was the least
That
comfortable.
wasn't the worst. The worst was the roller girls. That was.
Oh, the roller girls were terrible.
They were the
They were
worst. ever.
terrible.
That what they're talking about?
They had like nothing to say.
That they're talking
But
about?
since
Yeah.
then,
Oh, then
I
they
think
were-
No,
we
no.
But John
picked
wasn't
the
even
people
there.
to come in a little better who we know will actually
Stop.
be able to perform. And it's like somebody doesn't know what they're doing.
The two worst guests I've ever had on radio. One was Mickey Dolenz with the one of the monkey
Monkeys,
guys.
Yeah.
And when they had Grease here and he's the MC of the show, he was just, and that's a show I watched when I was a kid. Oh, the monkey,
Yeah.
turd. It was horrible. And the other one was Pauly Shore.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. See,
Pauly
but,
Shore was just a butt. I'm like, really? Why do we have? And soon as both guys left, because you want to meet, I had to kill them live on air. I'm like, dude, why do we have? We apologize for giving you the worst show ever. Those guys, we just killed them.
Well, and that's,
don't go see him at the Comedy Store.
well, we were talking about Corolla earlier, and one of the things he always says, he's like, people don't want to do that. They probably did 100 of those, right? But even though if you're on your 99th one of those, you still have to
Bring
give them
something.
something. Give something
Bring
because
something.
they're sitting there ready for you, and you're going to be a turd. It's just
Yeah.
like,
But he was an absolute, both of those guys.
Just
Plus
like
we
totally
didn't
put
get-
out and just
Yeah, and
Not interesting.
Polly was like burping and like snuggies and thought it was funny. Like, dude, you're not funny. There's nothing you're selling right now. And we at the time, Dave and I, the show was pretty popular. A lot of people listen. If I listened to that show, I would never gone to see him at the Comedy Works. If I'm at Comedy Works, people I'm going, oh gosh,
oh boy.
this is bad. Actually, one of the guests we had that was awesome, Charlton Heston.
Oh, really?
wow, really?
I got to sit down for an hour with Charlton Heston.
Oh,
Wow,
that's
that's quite a. I mean,
It was unbelievable.
that's like you being on our podcast.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Let me get my AR up.
I feel like this is good podcast material. I guess
We
they
wasted
These
Well,
people are getting it.
these-
These
That's
people
why
are
you
getting
want to listen to that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
true.
This is the bonus content.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Ready for some?
bonus.
What was his
Like
name?
bonus
Yeah.
content.
Charleston Heston played
Moses.
Moses, yeah, I was going to say. So this is like our Moses coming.
Yeah,
To do-
that's me. God, you guys
So
got
the NBA already had a Moses.
Oh, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
block the shot ones.
Wait.
Nice.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, sure. So I'm doing a read, right?
Then questions.
And then questions.
You're going. You're
And you
live.
already did the out music. So, yeah.
So read.
What the hell we got turntables for? We're not listening to music coming back in.
And what the heck do you have the internet for if you're not signed in at bsndenver.com? Hey, guys, it's the cost of a cup of coffee, and you're going to get guys who are live right now down in Scottsdale covering your Colorado Rockies, guys who are traveling with the Avalanche. Brandon Spano's somehow done it. He's made blogging a pay gig, and these guys are doing a great job. And if you want to see them continue to get paid, you're going to sign up at bsndenver.com, and you'll be rewarded for it. And when you do, please tell them the South Stands sent you. Is Case Keenum the biggest Broncos signing since Peyton Hillis? Have the
Well, you finally got somebody to laugh.
Have the Broncos thought about hiring Dan O'Dowd as GM since he had the good sense to draft Russell Wilson and Michael Vick? When the rape allegations were levied against Adam Gotsis, did Vance Joseph put an arm around him and say, "Hey, buddy, it happens to the best of us"? After he went in,
Then you get that.
after he went into the studio commercial free. Oh, God dang it! I messed that one up. Man.
Try it again.
Yeah.
After
we got editing team.
After the editors are all over it. After he went into the studio all night, commercial free, to announce the Case Keenum signing, did Mrs. DMAC ask, "Since when can you go all night?" Can Nate Kreckman recommend a salary-based mortgage consultant? Has Altitude TV considered asking Nicola to kneel when Allie interviews him?
Right.
With Jamal, she needs a telescoping
She's
microphone.
engaged, by the way. Congratulations.
Allie. When Jamal Murray's father, Roger, sat courtside for the Lakers game, was he pitching bottled water from Lithuania? Do female broadcasters love working with Scott Hastings because he makes them all feel tiny? You have questions. We have answers. SouthStandsDenver.com, Colorado's finest internet sports talk since 1971.
You know this, Scott?
No, but I
Oh, you're gonna like it.
official story of the
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I'm having some power problems here. It's the psychedelic version of it.
Yeah.
You gotta go with the Nuggets.
Go with the Nuggets.
Woo!
So the video people can't hear that because we don't have that on the.
That's right.
But it's important to note that it was played on Real Vinyl, as demonstrated by the fact that we had sound warbling just like Real Vinyl.
that means it's real.
What year was
Yes.
I don't know. 70 something.
76, I guess. Right. Yeah,
76,
76.
That was 5 years into your podcast.
Yes, exactly. It might be Great American Music Machine.
That's amazing. They don't quite do that for teams nowadays, or maybe if they do, it's not quite as funky as this.
Oh, and it has the lyrics on the back too. That's pretty sweet. Clearing the boards or driving the lane.
It's very
Our
very
teamwork
funky.
is a beautiful sight.
So this had to be an ABA gig thing, right? I mean, this is
76, yeah.
Yeah,
or maybe right in when they're transferred
Yeah.
over.
it's crazy.
Wow.
Um,
That sounds like an ABA thing, right?
This
there.
sounds very ABA. Yeah.
what?
It's the best theme song in all of sports.
Oh, absolutely.
and
Although
they never
wait,
play it. They never play it.
They don't have it. You're the only guy who did it.
I
gotta give it to him.
I think
I'm
Jeff
about to
Morton
give it
has. I think he might even told us about it a long time ago, didn't he?
No,
Yeah, I
no,
think so.
we did not. It was all me.
I don't know. Okay, maybe. Jeff,
Go
Jeff,
with
you
the
might
Nuggets.
want to answer that charge.
accusation.
Yeah, that
which is levied
accusation.
against you.
What's the? I've drawn a freaking blank on it. The ABA
The movie.
with Will
With
Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, Buddy Love, not Buddy Love. Yeah.
He sings the song. Yeah.
The something tropics. Was
Yeah,
the
the
theme.
It was the Flint Tropics.
The
Yeah.
Flint
The
Tropics.
Flint Tropics.
The
Old school. No.
no,
All Star.
no, it's like it's something. I
That
don't know.
movie.
That
It's
movie.
great. I love
Did
that
you
movie.
see that movie, Scott? What do you think?
Oh, hold on, because I'm
I mean, it's going to come to me soon.
I'm a tool.
Trying to think of it before Google does.
I know. Which is really hard in my advanced age.
Yeah, I know.
Old stuff. I would say old school. It's something like that.
All pro.
All semi-pro.
Semi-pro.
Semi-pro. I thought semi-pro was that.
I think it's semi-pro.
Yeah, it's semi-pro.
Which
And one of their players, I think, in this movie goes to the Nuggets. I think, or no, the Nuggets were one of the other teams.
Yeah, and because they're phasing out the Flint Tropics, and it's going to be the Nuggets, the Spurs, and the Bucks or whoever else was in there. but obviously maybe not quite a slice of life of maybe what it was like back then, in the late 70s.
Definitely a funny movie though.
It's a good movie.
But no, speaking of which, speaking of movies, Altitude, this week launched their Mo documentary, which I watched. I saw the second airing, which was at 9 p.m. I heard you and Julie talking about it in the morning.
Right.
And I put it in my Google Calendar on the way into work.
Was it good?
It was really good. And I learned so much. I did not know that George Karl played for Doug Moe. I did not know that Doug Moe was a star player of his own right. I mean, there was a lot that I did
How
not
about
know.
the funny thing is, if you haven't seen it, and I said this on the show, I think it's the best thing Altitude's ever produced.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah, it was absolutely phenomenal.
And my hat's off to them for having the willingness, because somebody had to pitch that.
Yeah,
and so
I think Vic pitched it. Julie jumped in because she had a relationship with Doug and some of the guys like that. And to them, they went to the bosses. Vinny Boylan kind of got behind it. And
the fact that the bosses got behind it kind of amazes me.
it took about 2 years. I mean, for them to put this all together. I mean, they had stuff in there from the 50s. Doug Moe played basketball in the 50s.
Oh, in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
And that was one of my favorite parts, was where they talked about how he used 3 different names. One to play as a Jew, one to play as a Catholic, and one as a Protestant.
Really?
Yeah, he played because you couldn't play, if you were playing Protestant, you couldn't play the Protestant league.
He was
Catholic,
Doug Moskowitz.
in the Jewish league. He was Doug Moskowitz.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which is, I mean, really, you got to see this thing, and I'm not just doing the phrase.
I heard it was great.
The production quality is like 90% 30 for 30. Like, it's almost there.
Yes.
Like, these videographers who did that did an amazing job.
I agree.
And as I heard you talk about on the air, they had to take just such a massive amount of content.
They had 30 hours of interviews.
Yeah, that's not to mention video clips.
They got Pat Riley on this thing. They've got Larry Brown on this thing.
They got Greg Popovich.
Greg Popovich, who never talks to anybody, but then all of a sudden you bring up Doug Moe's name. He was like sitting there going, wow. They had 15, 20 minutes with Pop talking about Doug Moe.
And you have 5 minutes of him just yelling at Hanslick.
That's the thing I saw.
It was awesome.
What the Nuggets, when you came to the Nuggets, what did you obviously they've been around for a while, but did you were you kind of like, no?
Yeah, was it being sent to NBA Siberia?
Well, to be honest with you, it's really funny because as a guy that was deemed a finesse player in college, and we ran the passing game at Arkansas when I was in college, and I was a shooter. I was a face-up, stand-up. I was Blair Rasmussen or Danny Shades. I was the guy that set back picks, popped out, shot 18-foot jump shots all day long. And then having to mold into Hubie Brown and Mike Fratello kind of styles where now you start to beat guys up and knock them down and set screens. I, my whole career, wanted to play for Doug Moe in Denver because he let whoever's open got to shoot. And if the big guy could knock down a 15 or 18-foot jump shot, they let them do that. And my whole career, I'm like, man, I'd love to play for Doug Moe. And no blowjob or none. This is absolutely the honest God truth. And when I got traded now I've run the gamut. I've played for Hubie Brown, played for Mike Fratello. I played for Ron Rothstein, who's the same guys in 3 different bodies. Then I get to Chuck Daly, who the late great Chuck is the greatest coach I've ever played for. And Eddie Sutton would be up there also. But Chuck Daly just got the pro game. He understood the athlete. I've seen guys like go off on him on the court. He wouldn't say anything, but they were first one in the office next morning with him, and they'd come out with their head down. I mean, but he did. I'm not going to cause a scene. I'm not going to embarrass him on the court. But we'll talk about it behind closed doors.
That's an important thing to do.
And no one, and it's a giant lesson. He was phenomenal. But they also had a thing when you went to the Pistons. When I went to Pistons, from day one, I swear to God, I always tell the story. It was like the Untouchables. Remember the movie when they go to Sean Connery and goes, okay, tell me how we get Capone. He said, we got to do it the Chicago way. They bring a knife, we bring a gun. They put one of ours in the hospital, we put one of theirs in the morgue. That's how the Pistons played. And I remember the second day of practice, and we were practicing actually in Canada for training camp. Bill Laimbeer takes myself and David Greenwood to dinner. And it's like a board meeting. He sat right there, and he and Dave and I, there's Laimbeer, 6'11", 285 pounds, and there's me and David, 6'10" dudes, 250, pretty big in our own right. And he was, it was like, yes, sir. We were like in school. And he says, our guards run this team. He says, anyone puts our guards on the floor, we put their guards out of the game. I mean, I swear to God, I'm thinking, can you do it in an Irish accent, please? Can you please be Sean Connery? Because I swear to God, I feel like I'm in the movie right now. But it was a mindset that the only thing that mattered was winning. And you know, in the documentary they did for the 30-30 with them, when they lost, it wasn't right that those guys walked off the court, although they didn't make as big a deal when Bird did the same thing when they finally knocked Bird and them out of the playoffs. They were so competitive, man. It was losing or nothing. I mean, and to this day, Isaiah is a dear friend of mine, the most competitive SOB that you'll ever know in the world, and was phenomenal. But then I came here. And I went from world championship and 57 wins and 56 wins and back-to-back seasons, losing in the Eastern Conference playoffs, to here. And they just had Westhead's first year, who is the worst coach that I've ever played for in my life. And they were clueless. I give you an example. I'm sorry I'm rambling.
No, please. This is fascinating.
But we're in training camp my first year. Now, I came from Chuck Daly and the Pistons, 2 years, to here.
The bad boy Pistons.
The bad boys. To the Denver Nuggets, and we're down at Colorado Springs, the Air Force Academy training camp, and we're going to run a drill. And back then, the block-to-block screen, you know, because Houston had the Twin Towers, and there was a lot of big guy stuff back then. We're going to go down. Let's go work on that block-to-block screen. So I go to one of the assistant coaches going to run the drill. So how do you want us to play this?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Hey, Paul, how do you want to play this? Paul goes, whoa, you know, we're working a drill and training camp that we're going to have to do in the NBA season. This is to get ready so that we know how to handle this. And Paul, well, you know, do it however they feel comfortable. And I start cussing. I go, listen, it was before therapy. Before the divorce, before years and years of therapy.
Maturity settles in slowly for all of us.
I feel like
You're about what?
I understand. I'm 30. I'm 30 years old and angry, especially when it comes to compete. Because when I'm a play, listen, I didn't play much. When I play, you're going to loaf. I don't believe in loafing. And I went down to this drill. I was so pissed off. And every drill I did, I blew guys. I'm blowing up the Kimby. I'm knocking him over. I'm throwing the guys. You want to play it this way? Let's play it this way. Okay, this is called riding it over the screen. And I push the guy out of bounds, and I'm busting this drill up. But that's how there was no preparation. So I went from always wanting to play to Denver to when I get there, I play with Paul Westhead. I'm like, you can't win games. You don't know what the hell you're doing. There's no plan, no rhyme or reason. If you tell a bunch of guys, you guys cover sports forever. Take any sport. And you tell 12 guys or 25 guys on a hockey team or 25 guys and say, go do it.
Yeah,
you're going to have no success.
yeah. Just ask Vance Joseph. But I'd be curious to know. In what we've had, John and I have had several conversations about Mike Malone, and I understand you and he share a common overlord at KSE. So I would never expect you to throw the guy under the bus, but. As a fan, should I have confidence in Mike Malone?
I will say this about Mike Malone, and I mean this sincerely, and I've known Mike since he was 19. In fact, he brought the story up when he got hired. He goes, hey, remember we're at that one bar down there and you bought me a beer? And I'm like, thinking, 43 head coach. You were 19. Oops.
I should be in jail.
Still. Yeah, thanks a lot. I think the limitations are on that. I would know this. I know he's a competitive joker. As there comes, and I know he's prepared. I know he puts the effort in. Are there things? I think every coach, when you don't have success that you need, there's always things coaches look at themselves and say, I should do this better. And there's things he's got to continue to grow at and get better at. Also, he's got a different team than I think he ever envisioned in his life. He has a finesse team, and I think they need to be tougher.
I think so too.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the Pistons, I was thinking, oh,
Yeah.
Dude, I was standing up last night in LA.
I wouldn't take long to do that.
And I swear to God, I don't have these moments very often, and I'm not as tough as I pretend. But I always felt in an NBA fight there was 3 punches, and I just wanted 2 of them. That was my whole goal, so I was never afraid. I'm standing up last night in LA and want Julius Randle just to look at me. I get like that sometimes, stupid. But I know Mike wants him to be that way. Are there things he can get better at? Absolutely. But you don't expect guys to go 3 for 14 in a game. You don't expect the guys on an out of bounds play that you're coming in down 3 late in the game, not ready for the play, it goes out of bounds. I mean, there's certain things that coaches you can't control. But
and guys like Barton are so on and off. Like Barton can be as off as he was against the Lakers, and then there are nights where he's just absolutely
Brilliant.
shooting the lights out.
right. And as a coach, and I'm not saying this to back out the question, because he does have things he has to improve on. And there are things that teams and players have to improve on. Toughness is one of them. I think a leader has to emerge and say, come on, guys, follow me. Let me show you how to do it. And even if it's against their nature, they've got to find a way to nurture.
And that won't ever be Jokic, will it?
You know what? We on Wednesdays, we have Earl Boykins comes in.
I know, and I love it.
And
It's awesome.
Earl said a brilliant thing one time that I had no idea about, that in the European nature is others first, team first. They preach from the day you're 3, team, which sounds like an interesting concept.
Right?
I'm like,
Right.
wouldn't that work in America?
It's literally a foreign concept.
It's a foreign concept. He said on birthdays, the birthday guy gives everybody else a gift.
Oh, yeah.
Here it's about me. And Jokic is a we guy. And it's against his nature a little bit to be selfish. But we've all seen when he is aggressive and kind of quote-unquote selfish that he thinks, how good is the team? I mean, they're
better.
I think it's going to come down to a guy like Murray.
Murray has got that.
He's already got the Lakers fans pissed
He
off.
reminds me of Russell Westbrook.
What were they
As
saying?
far
last
as
night?
the ego goes.
At the end of the game?
Murray sucks.
That's what they're saying.
19,000 people. I mean,
That's-
but
that's
I mean,
awesome.
As Bronco, as Denver fans, you guys are Denver fans.
I was
right?
beaming. I was beaming with pride.
When's the last time you ever heard in the Laker arena them attacking a Denver
I
player?
say the
Never.
same
That's
thing.
fantastic.
I've never heard of that.
Never happened. All right.
That's fantastic.
They know who he is.
What does you get more of the fan reaction being on Twitter, being on Altitude? You have people talking to you and going, "Oh, I feel this way. I feel this way." The fan reaction to like the team like the Nuggets, how much of that filters to the team, or are they just basically like, "We're going to do our thing. We don't care. We've zoned that out." You hear that? I mean, does any of that get to the team where they're like, "Oh, well this needs to happen"?
You guys, you ain't dumb. I mean, social media. Well, you are, but anyway, social media. Whether it's, and there's great about social media and there's really bad about social media, but everybody's in social
Kind of like society at large.
Probably so. But now it's you can isolate yourself from society, and I guess you could a little bit from social media. And I think there are probably older people that do. But
Sandy Clough, for example.
Exactly, he's still got a flip phone, and I think he shares it with his wife. And I'm not lying. I really do.
That's awesome.
Seriously. But let me say this first of all. Sandy's one of the most sincere, beautiful, genuine people you'll ever meet.
I have had the pleasure to meet him. I met him at a Stiffs Night Out at Jake's Food and Spirits a long time ago.
He'd be great in here.
Oh, I'd love to have him.
He'd be great in here.
I would love
But
that.
you never can DM him. I'll talk to him and see if I can.
See, that's the thing, is unless somebody wants to cough up his phone number, I can't
Well,
get it.
I'll talk to him and see if I.
He's
if
like
it's
a
okay.
monk living in the mountains. You can't talk to him.
I swear to God, he is. But
No, he's awesome though, and we've always talked about him too. We always love to have him.
I learned for the couple of years I worked with Sandy. You learn something every day. Now I'm a free spirit kind of. Hey, I want to come into a show and like you guys. Hey, let's have a couple.
He's
things,
buttoned the hell down.
And has it down though.
Now, I've heard this from other people
Has
too.
it down.
Yeah, that's why they call him the Ayatollah. And he's got magazine articles dog-eared, and he's got.
Oh yeah, but he used to get up and he would come downtown. He lives in the suburbs, kind of by the Texas interaction, and he would come downtown to what was the place that was downtown that had all the newspapers from all over the country, New York Times, Washington Post.
Oh, the market. The market.
Right on Larimer.
Yeah, it was something.
Yeah.
I thought the press, some New York.
Yeah, okay.
But they had all. He would come down and read all the papers before the internet and big stuff. Now he does it on the internet, but he would come down and read all the newspapers from around the country and then go do a show. I'm telling you, the dude is brilliant.
Oh, I know. I believe and
He's a true godfather in Denver radio.
oh, no, absolutely.
No, I always say I listen to him and I just say if you want to do radio, you should listen to this guy right now because he's got it going on.
Well, as much as I love Josh Dover, and I do, the fact that Sandy is now allowed to do Nuggets post game thrills me to no end.
Yeah, and I didn't know
You can't
that, so-
you can't probably listen to it because you're still
Still
taking
wet.
off microphones and wiping off your makeup.
Yeah.
Oh.
Great man.
You didn't wear makeup tonight?
No. Well, just the lipstick.
It's just- hey, we got to get into the second half, and this we could just honestly we could just keep going, but I know people got to take a whiz.
Yeah, and I got to go have dinner with my family too.
Oh, do you really?
So yeah.
Oh shit. Well,
How quick you got to be out of
yeah,
here?
we.
How's 7:30 there? No, it's 8:30.
Well, if you need to get, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. But let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. If you need to get out of here, we'll speed it up. 'Cause we're
Yeah,
just
that's my fault. I start talking. We don't do a part two. We can do this again.
okay. That's
I
cool.
don't know what you get unless you don't want it.
No. Oh, no, you stay as long as you want.
I'm gonna pee though. I can pee outside.
That would work too. I pee outside to keep the coyotes away, so the dogs.
You wouldn't be the first person to pee in that alley.
I have a fucking dog right here just scared the hell out of me.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for the warning.
Oh yeah. All right, let me stop this.
I went to two Goodwills looking for cool frame shit for this place. I didn't find a goddamn thing.
So we're getting an echo feedback. Did you hear that?
No,
I totally hear it in mine completely.
no.
I hear like 3 seconds later, I'm hearing what was said right into my head.
Oh, you know what? It might be this. It might be something with this.
I tried to knock down the volume on that, but I'm absolutely hearing it through here. That's what I was talking about.
I'm not hearing it.
You're not
I don't
hearing it
think
at
it was
all.
happening. It wasn't happening before. Where the hell did that little jersey go that I did? I thought I brought it in a Earl Boykins jersey. Where the hell did it go?
I don't know. Did I move it?
Or maybe it's underneath my coat.
Might be. It's probably wrapped up your coat.
Did you see my coat? That
That thing is fucking sweet.
isn't that fucking sweet?
Yes. Is that new or is that vintage?
No, this is vintage.
Yeah, that's fucking.
My buddy
dope.
Jeff Vanderhill he's like, hey, this was in the house that I sold and they didn't want it. And I was like, fuck
that's
yeah.
fucking awesome.
I go places and I see like these old dudes that are like probably like 60 years old, like wearing them.
You mean
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
Call
No, that
Me
jacket's
Jeff
Huh?
Underhill?
What?
Dude, that
Call Me
jacket's
Maybe
fucking
Jeff
sweet.
Underhill?
Oh, yes.
Call Me Maybe. It's
Where the fuck did that thing go?
I don't know.
It might be down on the counter.
No. I brought it up there.
That was so weird how the speed changed when I was.
Yeah, that was weird. Is it warped?
No, I think it's the. I don't know.
I swear to God, I brought that up here.
It's not warped. I've listened to it.
Scott, I wouldn't be shocked if it were just the electrical load.
I think that's
That
what
could
it
be
is.
it too. That's
Yeah,
almost
I'm
what it
sure that's
sounded
what it
like.
was. We were running everything through an extension cord.
Yeah. Which probably isn't good.
Well, okay. It's probably around here somewhere.
What are you looking for?
I had because we always hang a bunch of crap on the walls, and I had an Earl Boykins jersey that I had come into contact with, and I brought it up here, I thought, but I might have left it downstairs.
I don't remember you walking in with anything.
Huh. Sorry, it'll turn up. So this is fun, right?
Yeah, no, I like it. I like this. This to me is how radio should be. But we're confined that you got to have this break here. You got to hit this right here. You
Yeah.
got to do this right here.
Gotta get your Broncos in. Make sure you talk
I'd
about Broncos.
I'd rather just do guy person talk than sports, especially like in June when
Oh yeah.
you're a game 40 with the Rockies.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go, Boston sports and break down pitch by pitch for the first 7 innings or something, which I'm not sure the audience is into that yet here. Might be this year though.
I think some people might be into that.
I got back in.
Did you?
Mhm.
Did you get?
Tyler Anderson on the day? He was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I heard that actually.
Did you get your seats back?
No.
Different seats?
Yeah.
Better seats?
No.
Oh. See, he coughed up his season tickets because he thought he was moving.
What do you do? I copped out my house too.
It's true.
Yeah.
Tucson. Yeah, how hot it is there in the summertime.
Well, that's what they say, but
Is there any place better though in the country in the summer than here?
Oh, it's the best.
Summers here are just
So nice because you're from the Midwest. I grew up in Illinois, and it's just brutal in the summertime. And I was in Nebraska too.
And bugs.
Ugh, bugs. Yeah, but, they don't have fireflies here. I went to the Midwest a couple years ago.
They're
and I saw
lightning bugs, John.
fireflies.
They're not fireflies.
Lightning bugs, whatever.
But I
hadn't seen them in 20 years, and I was like, wow.
See, Chicago is called lightning bugs.
Oh, really?
I think everywhere else in the world they call them fireflies.
I might remember calling them
We were lightning bugs in Kansas.
Yeah, I think I called them lightning bugs.
So coming back into this next segment, we played this really silly song called Sports,
I got P too.
and we just shout the word sports.
Which I don't
Wait,
have
yes.
on record. That doesn't exist. So.
You don't have it on your, do you have it on your iPad?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you play it on that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I've been playing on records.
I see.
It's been good. It's been fun.
So several years ago, I'm going to tell this story to the 5 people watching.
It's at least 12.
I wrote a piece. It was 2 years ago. What I used to do when I was blogging a lot, I already knew you guys were taking care of talking about the teams. I only talked about the teams if nobody would talk about it. So I did a lot of Broncos front office DUI stuff. I did that lineman, that defensive lineman who got in all that trouble a few years back, and raped a girl. What was his name? Paris.
Paris Cox.
Paris Cox.
Yeah.
I wrote about that because, I just was frustrated that only the Post is reporting on this. Why isn't anybody talking about this? And then, but mostly I wrote about you guys. I tried to do pieces about the sports media because nobody else does that. So have my own thing, right? So I wrote a thing about Allie. She had freshly hired, having replaced Maya Starks, who I was a huge fan of. And I was bummed that Maya was gone, and I wasn't crazy about, bro, we're mid-show, man. I'm sorry. I'm probably not going to get you in. We're rocking, though. You're going to love this one. We're live right now on, I think, Facebook Live.
That was
But, hold on, Scoop. I'm going to throw you on speaker. All right, Scoop, you're on speaker. Hey, buddy, say hi to Scott Hastings.
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
So Scoop is a friend of ours who is down at Colorado Open Media, and he is a
Denver Open Media,
and he is he's a budding star. He's going to be a news anchor, and we're big fans of his. He's big fans of ours, and we have him on the podcast sometimes. But Scoop, tonight we are trucking. We are burning up tape, buddy.
Hey, and I just want to say something to Scott Hastings. Wayne, I watched you on. Is that the same Scott Hastings who did Sports Tonight on KWGN?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember watching you on CW2. Back then it was WB2.
That's right.
You were co-anchoring with Jim Conrad.
Yep.
This was back when Dave Young and Beverly Weaver did news and Al Fogelman did weather.
Yep.
Before Ernie Bjorkman had his second go-round. Now I watch you on Altitude Sports, and you work with Lauren Gardner, who was on the Fancast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Scoop, you are an encyclopedia, my man. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I grew up watching you guys.
Well, listen, man, I love you like a brother, and I'm sorry I didn't get back to you, bud. But we just been cooking with grease. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All righty, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, peace. Bye.
So Scoop is autistic, and he has an encyclopedic memory for national and local television news figures of all kinds, anchors, weather people, sports people, and
Totally can recall it.
It is insane what he does.
Remember.
And we have him in to have him talk about. I'll give him a topic, and he'll spend the day writing an essay on it. And I'll have him on to read the essay.
Nice.
And it's been an awkward
One of my
relationship
favorite
at
movies.
times
Show
over
the
the
camera.
years because we don't want to put him in a position where it's awkward and people
Oh, even better.
don't understand what's
right,
going
right,
on.
right,
you
This
know?
goes to the camera.
But he wants to perform in
Hey,
the
this is
scene. He wears a
my
suit
coat.
everywhere he goes. He wears an orange tie, and he has a Broncos logo stitched onto his navy blue suit. And he is just a cult of personality. Some fellas did a documentary about him called Finding Nemeth.
Really?
Yeah, Scoop Nemeth. It's on YouTube. And it's, in a sense, tragic, and in a sense, just wonderful, because right now he's doing a fitness challenge and working with some local fitness experts and getting his diet down and doing he did a cleanse. He's doing all this stuff and cataloging it on Facebook. And he gets real frustrated, and when he gets frustrated, he gets very angry. Kind of flies off the handle, and it can be really uncomfortable. But I've come to really, really care about him. He writes poetry that he brings by and he sells me. I'll pay him $5 a poem for something that looks like that.
So hear it, right? Like 3 seconds later. I don't know.
Yeah, I can still hear Colin long after he stopped talking.
I know. That's what
Now, it might be this. Let me
Nice.
love me sexy or something like that.
Yeah, for that movie.
Yeah. Love me sexy. Did that clear it up?
Yes.
I just paused it because I have it open on a browser.
Okay.
I always just check the thing, but I just paused it, so we don't need to.
So we're not getting any. I was getting that loop the entire time.
Yeah, I think it's just you're getting it off my computer.
Well, if I'm getting it, so is everybody else.
I wasn't getting it. I would have noticed.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
I wasn't
deaf,
getting it
but I
either.
would have noticed.
You didn't hear
I
it?
wasn't hearing it either, no.
Okay. All right.
Yellow.
Let's-
Okay, so I'm going to do mutiny, and then we're going to do sports.
Oh, I love
And,
sports. Sports
Scott,
are my
you just-
favorite.
When you got to walk out of here, just flip us off. That'll be our
Yeah.
sign.
So if you need to go,
So
we could keep you.
I leave town Friday for like 16 days.
That's right. I get
I'm supposed to go
like
dinner with my daughter and stuff.
Where do you meet them for dinner?
The pizza place over at I live at Chatfield and Wadsworth.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know the name of the place. Local pizza place.
That's way the hell down there.
You kidding me?
Yeah, that's a trek.
But I'm a mile from Grandma's. That's what we bought over there.
Do you want? I mean,
Don't worry about it. I'll go and do it when I go.
no, because I mean, here's the thing. Here's what's going to happen. We'll just keep you here all night and talk and talk and talk. So if you want to do another,
So this doesn't have a time constraint. Like literally,
No,
if I
not
had
really.
nothing to do, like, we could spend 6 hours.
Yeah.
Easily.
and I mean,
We'd
we've
love
done
to.
2-hour shows.
Can I say something? After the season's over, I'll come over and spend the night with you guys.
Let's do
And
this.
Bring a pizza in or something like that, right? And I love doing stuff like I love bullshitting and talking.
Me too.
Yeah,
we all do.
That's what this is.
And
Then
that's
you
what
can
we
take an Uber.
And that's
you
what
can take
this-
an Uber that night.
Yeah.
Nobody
And we'll
writes
pay
us
for
a
it.
check, okay? I had some sponsors at one time. It was more trouble to fuck around with getting their money than it was to do the show. So I just said, fuck it. So we don't bring in anything. This is we just do this for fun. And it's for us adult males with busy lives, it's very rewarding. That's the only reason.
It's a nice release to go.
Drink some
do.
beer, talk sports, play some music.
Believe me,
How about this?
Good times.
Let's do a half hour. Let's do a half hour of this segment, and then we can
Okay.
bid him a fond farewell, and then we can finish
And we'll
up
close
with
out
something.
the show.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then you
Okay.
can get out of here.
Okay.
So half hour, we good with that? Half
About
hour,
9:15,
9:15.
25 minutes.
25 minutes.
That's
20
perfect.
minutes.
Yeah, there.
Perfect. Done.
So 9:15, we'll
Yep.
pull the plug.
Let's roll
Yep.
it.
Okay. Hold on. Are you ready?
I'm ready for some sports. You ready to do a read?
I'm going to do a read.
Let me
Do a
make
quick
sure,
read.
make sure everything's good to go.
Yes, sir.
I'm ready.
It's on you. Go.
Mutiny Information Cafe is uniquely Denver, and it's a place you should absolutely visit right at the corner of Broadway and Ellsworth in Denver. Mutiny Information Cafe is owned by local yokels, and it's not new Denver. It's old Denver. You can buy used books. You can buy comics. You can buy records. You can buy iced coffee with ice cubes made out of coffee. Mutiny Information Cafe. Tell them what, Scott? The South Stand sent you! Oh, sports! I love you! Sports! Here we go, then! Woo! Woo! Case Keenum, baby! Here it comes! All-Star! Woo! 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 Sports! 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 Hastings in the house, everybody.
This is good stuff. This is good sports.
Sports. Sports.
Sports.
So
Love sports.
we've got Scott for a little bit more, but what we discussed on the live stream is that once this Nugget season's done, he's going to take an Uber, and then we're really going to party, and we're going to
And bring in Dave Logan.
and,
Just say his
Dave,
words.
Seriously, I think Dave would love this. I think he would love you guys.
that's awesome.
We'll just, they don't do the Altitude Sports Summit anymore, so let's just hijack the
Get Alfred.
name.
Hey, we'll get Alfred.
We'll get Alfred, and we'll get Sandy.
Alfred, Dave, and Sandy, and us. And
Wow, that's gonna be a lot. We'll just go in the corner and let them talk.
Yeah, no kidding. Talk about being outclassed.
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't
Shit.
think so.
That's awesome. Speaking of Dave, so you not only an NBA champion, but you were on the call when the Broncos won their first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You're on there now. Dave is, he's the one talking, but you're on there too.
And like I said, if the part that stand up in Denver.
I always thought that was you.
No, that's Dave.
No, that's
Yeah.
him.
Dude had a tear in his eye.
Dave.
Oh, I'm sure
I
he
know
did.
it. I
Oh,
know
no,
he
you
played-
can tell.
I know he played in Cleveland, but I mean he's a homegrown Denver guy. He had tears in his eye when he was saying that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I just listened to it last week. In fact,
That's giving me chills.
I
thinking
put
about it.
I put the link up on Twitter. Everybody needed a little bit of that.
My key in that one was you're going to tell me a 37-year-old man doesn't want to win this game.
Yeah, that was the helicopter.
That's awesome. But that's great, and that's just like being a part of that is pretty special, and people will always hear your voice, and it's really cool. I think it's
Hey, you want
awesome.
to tell you a funny story about that?
Yes, please.
So do you remember David Diaz-Infante?
Yep.
I do.
Yeah.
He went on Letterman after the Super Bowl, along with Mark Schlereth.
He was the long snapper and I think backup guard, played a little bit of stuff. He and I started all of a sudden getting this stupid routine, sometimes started a thing, and I would yell at him from the booth. And I don't know how to start. I would take my shirt off and we're talking about places in Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, where it's like freezing, and so he would sit there and so I'm like, and then he would stretch and show his butt to me. He would sit there and like somebody moon me while he was stretching. So we had this whole thing. So I'm actually in the booth before Super Bowl 32, shirt off, screaming down the field like, because I fell into that job doing that and had no pretense. Dave was the expert. Guy played 9 years in the NFL, knows everything in the world about football. You see the success he's had as a high school coach, but the guy knows football. And I just wanted to kind of be a fan. I knew sports. I knew athletes' mindset, and I've always said this. The X's and O's change. The sport doesn't. Every athlete that has problems in football and the fears and the insecurities and the ego and all this has it in hockey, has it in baseball, has it in basketball, has it in soccer. So I try to just bring it like that. I just want to be the fan. In fact, I call myself Monkey Boy because when Dave's called on the 5, the 10, the 50, and I'm going, that's my claim to fame with the highlights. But it was a great time. But I did fall in that. So yeah, I had my shirt on Super Bowl 32.
That's awesome.
I realized earlier I just had like a Chris Farley moment, like when he's talking to Paul McCartney.
It was completely.
And I was like, so I remember when you called that Broncos Super Bowl?
So I'm crossing tell us a Super Bowl 32 story off my list. Right there.
Hey, well, here's something we need to corroborate. So when we had Tom Nalen on here, the very first time, Tom Nalen's been on twice, and was a great guest and tons of information. He's getting up to leave, and he says after the second Super Bowl that the Broncos won,
Miami.
he goes, yeah, Shanahan told Elway I'm sorry,
It's the AFC
the
Championship.
AFC Championship game.
After the Jets game,
they
when
said-
he did the victory
He
lap.
said, take a lap because once you're done, or you're done, and he basically told him that he wasn't coming back, or he's not going to play again. And then we asked him that again, and he kind of didn't remember telling us. So we don't know if he misunderstood that or something.
Right.
But do you know anything about that?
I don't, but I remember it. Obviously, one, it was the last game of Mile High.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was the last game the Broncos played at Mile High, the AFC Championship game. And I do remember it was a struggle. Remember, they were down, I think, at halftime. The wind was blowing and howling. They had like a 5-yard punt one time. Remember, it went straight up there and backwards. But I was down on the field doing interviews when that happened and saw Elway take off with the trophy and was going around, and that's when it hit me. And no one could say that about it. He's saying goodbye. I mean, that's John Elway saying goodbye. He's done. And I don't even know if you remember this. I'm the guy that broke the story that he was coming back after Super Bowl 32. Because we're at his golf tournament. Remember, he used to have the celebrity golf tournament in town, and he and I are out there with a bunch of guys, and we're drinking beers, and he leans over and goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm coming back for next year." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Okay." And this before,
and he told you this knowing you're a member of the media.
And this before internet and all that stuff, where social media, I could have my phone right there taking pictures. LA's coming back, whatever. And I go, can I tell people? Can we? He goes, "Yes." So, man, I got up, left, drove home.
Can't wait to get on the air.
I called Lee Larson. I called Dave Logan. Lee Larson was general manager of KOA at the time. They had a function that night, a big award ceremony. Lee came down, talked to him. He goes, "Yeah, it's true." So Dave and I, they had a special presentation. We came in the Sunday morning because we never did shows the Sunday morning. And Dave and I do a special show. They go live Sunday morning. We had to sleep on it all night. Just think about that. So I'm learning at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, and I'm telling everybody at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Sunday morning on KOA.
Yes, I would never make it.
Imagine that. So, but we break it, and this is, talk about snail mail. We break it right there on the air live. Boom, boom. Elway's coming back. Told us yesterday. Blah blah blah. We go to the newsroom after we do like an hour show or something like that. Also, we start getting calls. The newsroom starts getting called AP. New York AP, but so even just from that signal and that talk, it got big enough. Phone call. We in there, staying there another hour doing interviews across the country from
That's crazy.
From people because they'd heard the news now from just that broadcast. Now it would have been I'd take a picture with him sitting there right there. Maybe do a quick Periscope. Imagine how you would do it now, but yeah.
Well, you bring that up. I was fascinated. I'm sitting on my phone on Twitter on what was it, Monday night, about to go to bed, and I'm like, one last look before I go to sleep.
Don't you hate that?
DMAC. I'm driving down to the studio right now, and I'm just like, damn it. So I got my phone. I Google. I use the voice recognition. I go, listen to 104.3 The Fan. Oh, okay. Push the button. Put on the headphones.
Listen, you're blaming DMAC for your hangover. I saw. Now listen,
I did. It was his fault.
Blame but yourself.
It was his fault. I stayed up another 45 minutes drinking beer because DMAC was talking about Case Keenum coming to town. But I thought that was cool. He did 6 hours straight, commercial free. Didn't have any commercials booked, racked up or anything. Just talk to doc, and took callers, which was interesting because you don't typically hear him take callers. So it was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's crazy how that.
Mine's bigger. Case Keenum, John Elway, Case Keenum.
Oh, that's right. Yours is way more important. So, do you miss any of that? Like, do you miss any of the Broncos stuff? I mean, the Broncos have won a Super Bowl since you were involved with those two, but.
Yeah, there's still a lot of people that are there. And then obviously with Kubiak coming back, John coming back doing the general manager, you still see the guys. Mark Schlereth, I did shows with Rod Smith, with Shannon Sharp, with Ed McCaffrey. So you just knew all those guys. Schlereth and I, because I'd go in and take Shannon Sharp on Friday, and then I would meet Schlereth in the equipment room, and he and I would play best 2 out of 3 in a game of 500 of darts back in the equipment room every day, and got to know Tommy. And I was probably closer with the offensive linemen because they're all slugs and I'm a slug. And so, yeah, you hung out back then. You felt like you're one of the dudes. You're just kind of one of the guys. And it was really cool. I don't know how it is now. I don't know how they do it now. I know now also with the Nuggets. I mean, the guys are all great to me and get to talk to them, and I can go up and approach all of them. But, I'm their dad's age now.
Right.
Back then, I was a year
kind of close. Right.
Yeah, I'm a year or two retired. I'm basically the same age as Elway, and I was doing that.
Well, and being an athlete too, and they can kind of like, he knows what we're going through essentially too.
Well, and on that, kind of along those same lines, you're a second generation father now. So you've had children before. Now you have another. Yeah. Talk to me just quickly about what it's like to be 10 years older than me and raising children again another time.
I would say he looks really good for that because
no doubt.
I definitely didn't look that good when
To
My
me,
kids were that
it's
age.
been the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Now, to sit there, if I sit back and think and, drink too many beers and go, woe is me, what am I doing at my age? It's been the greatest thing in that's happened to me ever, to be honest with you. It's been great for a couple of reasons. One, my older children just love my young daughter now. I mean, they have sisters play. I have 2 older sisters. One just turned 30 the other day. They go and play and they go shopping. They went and did the pedicure. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful and amazing. And it's also, and I looked at it this way because I really sat and thought about this. When my 2 older kids were born, my 2 oldest daughters, I was in the middle of trying to stay in the league. I mean, I'm every day I'm taking a nap. I almost feel guilty that it was like
They didn't get as much of you as this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking, did I give them enough of me? And it's not. I mean, before I came over here, I'm saying I'm on the ground playing Peppa Pig with the castle and stuff. Peppa, what are you doing? It's crazy. And then even when my son was born, I was just transitioning from player to media and trying to get this gig done. And it was always this. Now I'm like, and listen, I don't, my contract ends in June. Who knows? I may be done in June with all this. But it's like, when I'm home, it's like I told you, I got to leave. I mean, I leave for 16 days. I mean, I truly want to get home and see her and be with her and crawl on the floors. And, I probably moan a little bit more. I try to make it like it's a scary monster when I get on the floor. How do you be a monster again? Okay, let's play monster. But it's been the most beautiful thing that I've ever gone through. I would not have thought, I would not have scripted my life and said this is where I will be, but it's been the most amazing thing being older with a kid because it makes you younger.
Absolutely.
And it keeps you hipper.
Keeps you on top of, right? You know what Kid Bop is, and by all rights you shouldn't. Let me ask you this, and I know we've got to get you out of here. You've got commitments, but as a father and as an enthusiast of coaches, I've picked up on this, and knowing the NBA the way you do, I'm curious as to your thoughts about Larry Eustachy and coaches like him, and whether that era of that kind of tough-minded basketball coach is coming to an end.
Yeah, it is coming to an end, but I don't know if it was Bill Hanslick we had on the show. We were talking about it, and I've got one of my best friends, in fact, the godfather of my oldest daughter, played for Bobby Knight at Indiana.
So that's the ultimate example.
Randy Whitman played for and won the '81 championship with Indiana in Philadelphia. And you want to know my stories? I mean, I can tell you some stories that are just crazy that he's shared with me. That was a different era, but what Hans said, he said this: you can still be demanding, you can't be demeaning.
Interesting.
And I think
that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely beautiful. I got a good friend of mine who was an assistant coach with me in Atlanta and also Detroit, who now runs, and you guys can follow him on Twitter. I think it's Coaching University. His name is Brendan Sir. We've had him on the show a couple of times also. And he's hooked up with a guy named John Gordon, who's kind of a motivational speaker guy that they go around and they talk with. I think Clint Hurdle, this guy's gone and spoken with Clint Hurdle. Clemson has this John Gordon guy come in. But there's a new wave that they're trying to train coaches to be men. I've heard the word love used now more in modern sports than it ever. I mean, I got buddies. I got my buddies that I graduated high school. I got 6 guys that we get together every summer for a week up in the mountains here in Colorado. And now we taught each other and said, hey, man, love you. I mean, softer, things that we
and that's different than you would have done 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
would have done.
Well, and I think there's an element of it too, especially in the sport of basketball. You have a lot of young men coming into the game at the, from the lower high school level, et cetera, who have had less love in their lives.
Right.
And that's just a condition of our society right now.
Right.
Dads aren't around, and a lot of young men, especially in at-risk communities, have been raised by a woman and really do need the presence of a man in his life. And if that man's abusive, it's not a good thing.
Well, think about this. One of the in the NBA right now, one of the guys misunderstood, for a kind way to say it,
J.R. Smith
is Boogie Cousins.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Boogie Cousins, one of my good friends. In fact, when I was a rookie in New York, I played with a guy named Chuck Robinson, and Chuck was an assistant coach in Sacramento. And Boogie's got all the talent in the world. He just can't get out of his own way. we've all been there in our own real lives. And I asked him, I said, Chuck, just kind of what you're saying, what's his deal? He goes, he never had a man in his life growing up. He was always raised by his mom and women, and he does not trust men. And so when all of a sudden you get these coaches, and you get coaches that can be hard on him, and listen, Mike Malone is a demanding coach, but I think he lets his player know he also loves them. Boogie loves this guy, and he doesn't like any. I mean, he's gotten 4 or 5 good coaches absolutely fired. But he said that just what you talked about, he never had a man that he felt he could trust in his life. And so when these men and male coaches come in and are, you got to do this way, he's been, wait a minute, then you think the psychology of the sport and everything else. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right on. And so why I think you can still be demanding, but they got to know you love them. They got to know. I'm just rambling.
Well, you've got to play a fatherly role, which a professional sports coach does not expect.
I interviewed one time for what is now a G League coach, and actually was offered the job, but it was really paid nothing. It was really bad. It's like doing this thing.
Right, that's probably.
They didn't even get beer. They had to buy my own beer. And when I was doing the interview job, I said, "Listen, guys are in this development league. There's something wrong with them." It's kind of like, and I always thought there's a junior college in my hometown that maybe I'd go back someday and be the junior college coach. If you're going to junior college as opposed to a 4-year college, there's something wrong with you, either with your game, with your grades, with your mental aspect and prospect, whatever. There's some, and I said, I would look at it the same way. There's something wrong with these guys. First thing I would do is say, listen, and listen, you want to try to win and all that stuff. I said, but I'm going to try to sell that I want to improve them. Because if their goal isn't to make the NBA, they shouldn't
be playing basketball.
They shouldn't be in this league anymore. They should go somewhere else. And I want them to know that my job is to make them better players to get to the NBA. And for me, and I think I won over those guys. To me, I'm saying, listen, I love you guys. I may not like you, but I'm going to love you. And everything I do is to make you better and hopefully make you an NBA player. And I think that's the approach you got to do with some of these guys. Now, I think there's a line, and I think the Denver Nuggets will get to that line soon, that you got some really young talent, but eventually you're going to have really middle-aged talent. And so you're going to, you know what I'm saying, that there comes a time when you're going to have to demand it's time that you take off the training wheels and you got to go. You got to do it on your own. How much you push early, I think right now, I think coaches are in the experimental age. CSU is in a tough position because what do you do now? What do you do now?
Well, how do you like the idea of this Becky
Hammon?
Well, I'm a fan of hers, and my daughters. It's funny because my daughters loved her when she was playing at CSU because they all played basketball, and I am a monster fan of hers. I'm also, as we talk about maturing, I would have said 20 years ago, no way I'm going to come play for a girl. No way I'm going to play. Now,
Sounds like a great idea.
I want to play for the best coaches possible. And if Becky Hammon can coach, I don't care if she's female. Who gives a crap? I want somebody who has my best interests at heart and is going to help us win and succeed and get me to the next level. And if Becky Hammon can sell that, I don't care if she's a woman.
She's a Spurs assistant. It's good enough for them, right? I mean, it should be good enough for anyone else.
And I don't think he hired Pop. And listen, Pop's is socially aware. Look at this.
It's time to go.
Socially aware as anybody. But I promise you, he ain't going to hire her just because she's a female.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I mean, how about that? I still got hands on.
Yeah, that was a good catch. Yeah. Well, listen, we're at an hour here. So
perfect.
Let's start wrapping up so we can get Scott out of here. But
this guy's spent time around microphones before.
Yeah, I've been on places that have no engineers.
We have him on. We have him recorded as saying he'll come back, so he can't get out.
That's on the record.
He can't.
That's on the official record.
Yeah, and Scott, you are in the middle of the Nuggets, so I am very. I am just honored that you would come and.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I mean, he was in LA last night. He's got Detroit tomorrow, right here in Denver. So
I'm flying to Memphis. Although I'm going to be in Memphis on Beale Street for St. Patty's Day.
Oh well,
huh?
That's.
Let me send you a picture.
Have a little couple ribs for me.
They're gonna have some Guinness there, I'm sure.
So Sulky Sullivan's. You ever been to Beale Street?
I have been to Beale Street.
Wait, Memphis?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it's been a long time. It's got enough bars.
Yeah.
Memphis, right?
And music.
So
And
the Peabody Hotel is the famous hotel there, right?
Right.
That's where the Ducks come in, right?
Right.
I got the worst hangover of my entire life in that hotel. I sat with a buddy of mine and I drank Colt 45 in a bathtub.
Oh!
And I got hammered. I almost threw up in the lobby of that place because I'm so hungover.
And the real story is he was drinking Colt 45 in the Ducks pond and drinking part of that water.
I might have gotten up
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I might have gotten up there.
Duck water will do that.
Well, listen, this was great, and we've got a ton more to talk to you about, and I wish we could keep you.
One question, I'll give you the
Next time.
shortest answer.
Okay.
Give me one question you wanted to ask. You haven't asked.
It's Colin, you got the list.
What's your ultimate concert opening act and headliner?
You know what I've been getting into? I texted you this on the way over here because I had to give it the thing. I was out in the parking lot listening to Five Finger Death Punch. And I'm going to Five Finger Death Punch this summer.
Wow.
They're in Denver.
Yeah.
And Mama loves Slipknot.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that
was unexpected.
Do a whole show on that.
But I also love Train. So
Do you? Okay.
I'm-
What do you do at a concert? You're so tall.
It's the most awkward thing in the world for me because I'm here to listen. I don't care what the band looks like. I just want to listen to good music. So I've never been a stand-up guy. But then all of a sudden the music's good and the whole band, everybody stands up like a Red Rock.
And like 5 rows behind you, they're throwing popcorn. at you.
I feel horrible. So I'm hunch standing.
Oh,
I'm
that's-
kind of hunched over and I look and I'm always in front of the girl.
I'm 6 inches shorter than you, and I get the same thing.
Don't you feel bad?
Yes, like I feel like crap everywhere. And this is not just there; it's everywhere I go.
I think from now on, when Red Rock's employees see me, they ought to put me backstage. And let me
They should. They're just right on the side. That'd
Hey,
be
Scott,
great.
come backstage with the band.
They got sweets.
That's awesome. Well, we got plenty more for you, Scott. We appreciate your time. We know you're busy. You got a lot going on, but this has been awesome. It's been a long time coming. We definitely want to have you back in the summer. And
Anytime.
that would be awesome. And we'll do it up right then. We'll make sure we all have plenty. We'll have more beer.
We'll have our ducks in a row.
That's absolutely so. It's awesome. I mean, he's Scott Hastings. It needs no introduction, I guess. Or outroduction or exit introduction, whatever you want to call it. But you know where to find him. He's on the radio, and and he's on the Nuggets game. So you can find him there. But
So I'll go let him out and lock the door behind him, and we'll do another.
and we'll do more. But
10.
thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Seriously, I'll do this anytime.
It's awesome. Thank you. So, we'll be back after we let Scott out, and we'll have another segment.
Oh man, that's awesome that just decided to pop off. It's been on there for months.
It's time to go, right?
It's awesome, man. Thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you finally.
Hey, thanks so
Scott,
much.
thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'd like to
thank
get
you so
around
much.
this horse and
That was great.
That's not my car.
I know. I was hoping your nice car was here.
I think
I got a loader today.
Yeah.
Euro, so
Scott, take care. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Oh no, we're
We'll take that out, and then we'll do another 15 minutes. I mean, we're at an hour 6, basically. It was really good. I could just sit and talk to him all night, but I know he needed to get out of there.
Yeah. Okay, there it is.
So Scott had to leave. He had plans, and but he had a good time, I think. So he'll probably come back. And
sounded like he did.
I think he had a good time. I think a lot of times those guys will, they're so used to the structured format, and they have to, like you said, they have to hit their brakes.
They like coming.
They like coming.
Well, they say it now.
They say it now. Yes.
Do they come back later?
They a lot of
Some
times
do,
they do.
some
Yeah,
do.
a lot of times they do. It's all but he's got the Nuggets season going on, so I
Yeah.
understand he's busy. So
Go with the Nuggets tonight. It's nice.
that's so much better than the fucking Rocky song. You know the Rocky song that we played before? We played it in the past.
Well, that's what Rockies.
You got to hit that ball, got to run that base, got to get that double play. That one, you know that one, right? You can find it.
The only Rocky song I know is was it Glenn Frey? Who was that?
Oh no, that's
The
Rocky
Rocky
Mountain Way. I'm talking
Rocky Mountain
actual Rockies song.
Yeah,
Like they made it for the Rockies.
that's.
You can find it.
I don't want to find it.
It's bad. It's terrible. Because like Gonna hit that ball, gonna run that base, get a double play. The Rockies are in town. We're gonna hit a home run. We're gonna win the game. It's really fucking bad.
So is this YouTube or is this YouTube or Facebook?
That's YouTube.
YouTube. Okay. I was wondering if you could play the Nuggets song. They probably don't have well, that's not a risk, you know.
We have not gotten flagged for anything so far, so it hasn't picked it up. Although you can kind of hear it, but I thought maybe if you heard it a little bit, maybe it would show up, but
Not yet.
it didn't get flagged. Because when we did it before, remember all that stuff got flagged immediately because it was right it was right into the board. So,
All right, Johnny. What kind of what should I bump back with?
I don't know. You're the music playing guy. Oh, I love that album.
Yeah.
It's good. It's my favorite. Can I see it?
Yeah.
So right before he left, I told Bobby, Big Bobby, I go, I bet you Hastings drives an F-150.
He's a big old
He
truck.
drives an F-150. I thought he knew it.
He needs room to.
Maybe something
Well,
more.
it's 6'10". You can't drive a fucking Passat.
They ever play this for you?
Ooh, I mean, I've heard it. It's from the Hunger. That's where they play it in the Hunger. Yeah, they perform it live in the Hunger. Ever seen the Hunger? Yeah, it's a vampire movie with David Bowie in it.
I've never seen it.
So yes, that was Scott Hastings, and if you want to advertise on this show, we could put your logo right here. But
We're talking to you. That's you, Coors Light.
a beer logo
Or
one of the many breweries.
Pabst
in town.
Blue Ribbon. They might be interested.
Yep,
They could head Coors Light off at the pass.
sure.
Because we've heard from some folks over at Coors Light. They're pretty interested. So
That's right.
Coors Light's been featured prominently on this show for many years.
if Pabst Blue Ribbon wants an opportunity to switch our allegiances, why, by golly, we just leave that right up to them.
And we don't ask for a lot.
I want to
Beer,
thank
maybe.
I want to
For
thank
that matter,
Snyder.
Bush.
I want to thank Snyder and Mike Peterson for being two of the four viewers tonight.
And also for
And Bronco Jeff.
constantly texting us so that our phones blow up during the show. Thanks,
Don't forget
Snyder.
about Bronco Jeff.
That was really
They're like,
thoughtful.
"Hey, it's a great show. That's really awesome." And it's
Bing,
like,
bing.
we know, we
Bing.
fucking
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
We're
know.
here.
We know.
We're
Yeah,
experiencing
geez.
it.
We're,
real
we're
time.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know why I talk into the microphone when I'm talking to that thing.
Well, it's that
These-
microphone.
Actually, that microphone.
These have nothing to do. But Snyder said it sounds good.
It's,
So that's
yeah,
good.
well, once we got that microphone, it sounds real good. That was awesome, and we could have probably talked to him all night.
Yeah.
Dude, he has a storytelling Jesse.
Oh yeah, he can fucking spin a yarn.
Yes, he can.
Which
Which I suspected was probably the case.
oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think I have a Moran of the week I didn't use 2 weeks ago. Did I do Kliss as Moran of the
Yeah,
week?
you did. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. I didn't even think about that because you texted me that, and I was
Driving and doing
I was driving.
living life. Trying not to.
Well, you gotta get your skills on there.
Wicka.
Well, now that Hastings is gone. It smells like a dispensary in here.
That's John.
Tis not me.
Oh my God, that Lakers game pissed me off so much last night. Oh God,
It's the
I was
worst.
so
Careful.
upset. Oh, that's sweet.
Bring it back this way.
I mean, I can bring this back a
Well,
little.
that fucking view rocks right there.
Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah, that's a much better view. We should do that from the beginning.
I tried to. I think we want to do a Hastings centric view. It's cool. Are you guys ready to?
Well, yeah, because he was all tucked in over here, and I thought
Initially, yeah.
I was blocking.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Sportique and then. Oh, is John recording?
No, not yet.
See?
Didn't even do it. All right, you guys ready to rock this?
I'm ready. You guys ready?
Oh, too low.
There you go. That's
Oh
fine.
wait. Oh shit! What
You
happened?
gotta clap.
What
What
did
happened?
happen?
Hold up.
Oh, yeah. What just happened there?
Yeah, something got jacked up here.
Hold on.
Something got.
Un momento. I need to get an extra headphones jack in here.
Something got jacked up and jacked off.
Uh-oh. guys excited about the Rockies?
What?
Rockies.
Dude, I had
So
to
excited.
cancel my spring training trip.
Really?
Yes, and I'm gonna fucking end up blowing $500 on airfare I can't use because United doesn't let you do anything. You can't transfer it, you can't sell it, you can't fucking
Really?
cancel
Why
it,
did you have to
reschedule
cancel it?
it.
What's going on?
Oh, my service manager's leaving, and he's in the process of training me, and it happens to be, it would be next week that I would be going down. And
What do you do with your tickets? I'll take them.
I've got 3 sets of tickets. They're yours. I mean, if you want to give me 10% of what I paid for them, that's 10% more than what I would get otherwise. I have tickets to the Diamondbacks and Reds at home and the Cubs at their place.
What weekend is it?
The 23rd, 4th, and 5th.
I could probably do 24th and 25th, maybe.
Well-
or maybe the 24th. Can't do the 23rd. Oh,
So
wait,
what-
we're drafting on the 24th. I can't go to Rockies game.
Well, you can in the daytime.
Yeah, that's true. Is it daytime game?
Yeah,
Yeah, all daytime games.
they're all daytime
I
games.
might go.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah, I mean, it's great times. No, but I had to unwind it because my service manager's moving to Savannah because of the cost of living here.
Savannah's not cheap, is it?
$210 median home price.
Really? Is that cheaper than 505 medium home price? Is that
Dude, that's slightly cheaper.
cheaper than that? Huh.
Let
Is
me
that
just
math?
say before we get back on this, fantasy hockey playoffs going on, right?
Dude, I'm getting fucking.
It's early. You'll be fine. So the whole reason why that there's an ad drop limit per week is because that one season that I won, you and I were ad dropping like a ton at the
To
end
fill our roster.
to fill rosters and get matchups.
Mhm.
So Ryan's dad complained because I beat him because that.
That's Ryan's dad guy.
I know.
There's a story a week with this guy.
And he complained. So the next year, all of a sudden, there was a limit, which is fine because, like, you know, in baseball, you should have an innings limit that you have to reach. Otherwise, you can just use relievers. Blah blah blah. So it's cool. That's fine. That's okay. But I think that Ryan's dad is always in his ear telling him things. And so then, if you notice, Ryan's dad has like 5 goalies because he knows that I'm in goalie trouble, and he kept picking up goalies.
Adding him. Oh, using the rules to his advantage.
Now he's using the rules to his advantage, you know. So
This says now I understand. I'm starting to learn a lot more about Ryan now that I know this.
I'm telling you. So
You know,
yeah, so there's
apple doesn't fall far from the crooked tree.
a lot of shenanigans going on there. So I don't know. Just saying. Just saying.
All right, you ready for me to read Sportique?
I'm ready. You guys ready?
Yeah.
70 degrees today, another 70-degree day tomorrow. Oh man, it is a perfect time to head into Sportique Scooters and look into a motor scooter for getting around Denver. You can park the thing at a bike rack. You don't have to have a license plate on it. You don't have to have a motorcycle endorsement to ride one. 50cc scooters are for everybody, and it's a great way to get to Coors Field to watch the Colorado Rockies play. Get into the game with Sportique. Where scooters come from.
That's not good.
Don't even sweat it, dude. We'll fucking worry about that later. Just open another one. I'll cut that carpet tile out and just put a new one down.
It's all over the course.
It's all right.
I'm glad you actually finally got it over with. Jamming good with Wayne and Kelly.
And the spiders from Mars.
Too far.
This biggest man.
Take it to the special man.
Here we go.
Let him have it.
Screw
Pies and screw down hairdo. Like some cats.
I love this Bauhaus version. It's the best.
Look at my smiling. You leave them to hang.
You guys, I had a dream that we had Scott Hastings on.
What tickets?
I had a dream that we had Scott Hastings on.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, here we go. So where were the spiders?
Try to
break our hearts. So you can hear it on the podcast. If you can't hear it on the live stream,
No, that's fun. Bauhaus
it's
doing
Bauhaus doing
Ziggy.
Ziggy Stardust. Yeah.
I always like this version better.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's a little faster.
Yeah, it's just
Slightly
a
faster.
little bit more intense. A little bit more gothic, I think, maybe.
That's pretty gothic.
A tad gothy?
I mean, when it comes down to gothy, it's pretty much Peter Murphy and then everyone else. He's kind of the gothiest one.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. I said maybe I'm, at the beginning of The Hunger, it's Bela Lugosi's dead, I think. But
Yes.
I thought that was from this. I don't know what the fuck they did. But
Okay.
Boy,
This is definitely on the same album with Bela Lugosi that I usually listen to because it's a greatest hits album that I usually buy.
yeah. But I'm just confusing it because Bowie was in The Hunger, maybe. I don't know. But
I don't know. It's all easily confused.
yeah, The Hunger's a really good movie. It's very 80s.
I love the phrase leper messiah.
Yeah.
Like I picture this Jesus who's reaching out over this crowd of starving humans. Like they're all people who haven't had meat in forever. And his chunks of Jesus' skin are falling into the crowd and they're messily devouring it. And Jesus' blood is all over their mouths.
Wow.
I mean, picture a leper messiah. It'd be like that.
Are you talking Leopard Messiah from Bowie or are you talking Leopard Messiah from Metallica?
I'm saying a leper messiah.
Which Metallica got from this, I would think. But
I would have to think.
anyway, welcome back. We had Scott Hastings on.
Yeah, this whole rest of this thing is just like a huge down.
Yeah, I know. We're just gonna basically kind of coast. We're gonna
No
coast
one's
to,
listening to this.
This is like the refractory period of a podcast.
we're just gonna coast to a stop, yeah, and just let it filter out from there. Excuse me. But good show though. Scott was excellent, and
I could tell he actually thinks Malone sucks. I could tell by how nicely he said stuff.
he definitely phrased it very diplomatically.
Yes, and I think what he was, I was thinking yesterday, we are going to miss the playoffs. I say we. Your Denver Nuggets, John, your Denver Nuggets are going to miss the playoffs.
There's not a chance you're making the playoffs.
There's not a chance, hardly a chance. There's a 32% chance, according to 508 or whatever.
I say there's no chance.
532.
538.
530, yeah, that. But the
Wait. 538 said Trump had like a 38% chance of winning, so there's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance. But I thought about the game where, and I can't remember who it was. It was like a week ago where Malone sat Murray and Jokic for the entire fourth quarter.
Yeah,
in a winnable game to try and prove some kind of bizarre coaching point.
Or like
in the
never
midst of
playing Manimal ever.
And I'm no huge Kenneth Faried fan. Believe me, I'm not a huge fan. What I do know about Faried is if you throw him on the court for a couple minutes, he'll foul the dude, he'll slam the ball home, the crowd will go wild, and you can get some valuable minutes out of the guy. I don't understand. I really don't. And it's almost like Malone does not want to go into the playoffs as a 7 or an 8 seed and have to play the Warriors or the Rockets. Who can play him? But I honestly think
What you want to go to the playoffs though?
I think he's taking this shit, dude. I think Malone's taking it.
For what? For what reason?
Nobody else in the Denver media will bring you this hot take.
Yeah.
I think Malone's taking it.
Day one, not day 65.
You sit Jokic and Murray for the entire fourth quarter of a game.
Well, he's proven a point of some.
Yeah, that he doesn't want to make the playoffs.
No,
and he's taking it. They want to finish with the 9 seed.
The point is that he thinks Jokic.
Fuck the Nuggets.
I'm heartbroken.
I want to talk about my Avs, who are going to make the
Oh!
playoffs. Who are in the number one. They are the number one wild card spot right now. I thought they were dead in the water. They're now the number one.
I think 2 weeks ago you told me they weren't.
I was like, yeah, they're done because they just look kind of discombobulated.
Is Nathan McKinnon legit?
Oh yeah,
like legit.
Oh hell yeah,
Really?
hell yeah, oh yeah. And I wasn't
even
sure
if they finished with like an 8 seed. Wouldn't the MVP be on a 1 seed?
No, because it's not necessarily based on that. And if it's kind of there's goal leaders, there's kind of like an MVP type thing. There's various ways to judge it, but he won't win that. No, he won't win like an MVP or like the
Hart Trophy.
Yeah, he won't win the Hart Trophy. But he's legit. I mean, he's seriously fucking good, and I think they have a bright future. Let's put it that way. Because there's times when they look fucking good. Last night they looked good, like they just fucking throttled those guys.
Do you feel good about Bednar?
Yes, I do.
Wow, and that's high praise because you're not quick to embrace the head coach.
I think he got thrown.
That's my nice.
I think he got thrown to the Wolves last year because they were kind of behind the 8 ball with Waugh cutting out on him early or late in the process, and he didn't have much to work with. They had a horrible season. They played very well this season, and I think they're just going to get better. Obviously, if they make the playoffs, I don't think they're going to make it out of the first round. But obviously, I was wrong about them even making the playoffs.
Well, John, in the NHL, all you need in a playoff round is to have a goalie who gets hot. Sorry, that's fine.
That's great. But they're really good. They're really good at home. They're not so good on the road, although they were last night. But
no, Scott Stafford, that was not my Scoop Nemeth impersonation. That was another one, which I had only just then made up. This is my Scoop Nemeth impersonation.
We're getting close to the 15-minute mark, and I'm sure if anyone wants to hear us dildos talk, they'll keep tuning in. But we talked a little spring training. Colin's not going now, but Rocky season's coming up. You guys excited? I mean, it's
heck yeah! It's World Series or bust. Right?
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's World Series or bust?
Yeah, you guys. Well, not
World Series or bust.
I think.
How about real close? How about postseason?
I think a round or two in the playoffs if they can. I mean, I'm thinking that right now. At least get out of that damn wild card round.
No, they're going to the World Series.
Can you imagine? Just
Cargo.
I'm very excited about Cargo.
I'm so excited.
Just take a deep breath for me for a moment, gentlemen. Just imagine the Colorado Rockies just won the World Series.
Wow.
Oh my God!
And John and I are
instantly. They jumped to number 2 in Denver behind the Broncos.
They're number 2 already.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
you think so?
Absolutely.
In terms of what? In terms of just general fan love?
Overall fan love and attention, because baseball is much more widely accepted than any other sports. Basketball has the problem of having too many black guys.
What else has a
you make a solid point. But no, I would think the NBA would be number 2.
No, definitely not. Not in Denver. Denver's way too white for that. Way too white.
Wow.
Denver's one of the whitest places in the world. I saw it recently.
It is.
Why do you think the home values are so high?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But hockey's great, and hockey's one of my favorites, but it's certainly not.
Well, that's a very white sport. That's the whitest sport.
It's very
nothing whiter than
so hockey. You got the blackest sport, you got the whitest sport. They're going to take a seat to America's pastime, which
does offer diversity.
Absolutely.
It satisfies people from all political backgrounds.
You got white people.
You got Trumpers.
You got black people. You've got Hispanic people.
I'll bet you
lots of
the occasional Asian. The occasional Asian.
Sure.
The occasional Asian. That's my new restaurant.
That's a new restaurant. Yeah. Every now and then I'm in the mood for some Asian.
So
I stop by occasional Asian.
I'm going to get some delivery from occasional Asian.
You sell Asian food. Not Thai, not Chinese food, not sushi. You got some Asian food. I got Asian roll. I got Asian burger.
Wow. Hey, let's talk. Colin, we'll get out of here soon, but let's talk a little Broncos. I know you love your Broncos. We're both wearing Broncos hats. I didn't wear my Rockies spring training hat because I thought, Colin's going to wear his. I don't want to be wearing the same hat as him. So Scott thinks we're total dildos. Not Scott Hastings, not you. I know you think we're
dildos. I totally think you guys are always dildos.
So I didn't wear it. So I wore a Broncos hat. Colin wears Broncos hat.
So let me tell you about this hat. So
hold on. No.
Talk about the hat. This is an aside. This is what I call an aside. That meaning that you need to remember where you were, because as soon as I tell this aside, you're going to have to go right back into what you were saying before. Okay, so a dude gave me this hat because I said nice hat. Guy was in the showroom. We were talking.
That's a nice hat.
He had a question. I said, I like that hat. Nice hat.
And he goes,
it's your hat.
Wow.
And I suspect he just shoplifted it, honestly. To be honest with you.
He was like, I'm going to get rid of it.
It's still special, though.
It had a price tag on everything. But no, a dude just gave it to me.
That's a nice hat.
So what were you saying?
I like the gray. I have a gray White Sox hat that I really like. I'd like to wear it, but
I think John was saying is how almost excited are you for Case Keenum?
Now look, I listen. Case, it's not exciting. It's not sexy. It's awful. But Case Keenum is not a bad.
I'm almost excited for it.
Case Keenum is a pretty good quarterback. If you watch him, because I did. because I had Vikings players in fantasy, and you guys know I'm a 3-time champion.
Snyder and I were in Vegas. We had money on the game.
Yeah,
Yes, I watched.
I'm a 3-time champion in fantasy. I don't know if you guys know that, but
I am very well aware.
yeah, are you aware of that? But Keenum, he threw some balls to some guys, and so he was a viable fantasy quarterback actually down the stretch.
He was really good. Yeah.
So I guaranteed, maybe going to Broncos is a step down for him unless they fix some things. But he's decent, and it depends what they do in the draft, obviously. But everyone complaining about this is terrible, It's like he's a huge step up from what they.
Oh,
have.
he's fine. Okay, Keenum's fine. I got no problem with Keenum.
Yeah.
My fear is, and Mike Kliss floated this, and when Mike Kliss floats something, that's the lube. Okay, and that means
when he floats something, you go, "Ooh, something's coming."
Elway's bringing the wiffle ball bat on this one. He's like, well. I think the Broncos like the 2-year agreement with Case Keenum because they're really hoping over the next 2 years they can get Paxton Lynch ready to go. In other words, they're not going to take the 5th pick on a quarterback. Now, I became more optimistic today when I found out that 7 of those fuckers went up to Oklahoma to watch Baker Mayfield play. So, for his pro day. So hopefully that's a sign that maybe they are.
See, what the Broncos need to do is what I do with my son. Like when my son screws up or he's getting poor grades, what do? I take away his PlayStation, right? That's what the Broncos need to do. Take away Paxton Lynch's PlayStation.
He's probably got an Xbox, but because he's kind of a nerd. But yes, you're right. Yeah.
Take it away, Broncos. Take it away, and maybe we got something.
I don't think so. And what I do think is that this is an epically awesome quarterback draft. There's like 5 certifiable dudes and who are like sweet. So if you got a year like that and you have a top 5 pick, I cannot imagine not taking a quarterback. I'd love to know what Snyder has to say about this. I'll call him tomorrow.
He's probably still watching unless he fell asleep, so he can probably chime in.
Well, what's your take on it, John? Are you passionate as I am that Keenum is great as long as you're going to draft somebody? If you're not going to draft somebody, the whole thing is Matt.
First of all, I couldn't. This is my flaw. If I have one flaw, which is probably pretty rare, maybe have a flaw, it's that I don't know anything about these college quarterbacks, so I couldn't tell you. I don't think Snyder's a Mayfield fan.
And I don't know either. I only know what these people say.
The Money Mommy is not a Mayfield fan. That she doesn't like him.
Oh, they think he's smug.
Whatever. I don't care about smug.
I love Curtis Mayfield.
I love Curtis Mayfield. He's awesome.
Great.
If it's truly a great quarterback class, they need to get somebody for the future. Paxton Lynch is not going to cut it. He's not going to cut it. I don't know who's watching that and thinking, yeah, this guy's going to fucking get it together. Because think about the young quarterbacks that have risen up this past year. Carson Wentz, the fucking dude in LA, I can't think of his name. They made great strides from the rookie seasons, right? You saw an improvement. Now Lynch didn't get a full season.
Here's
to start.
The thing, though: the Broncos don't do it. They don't do it. They don't commit to anything. And that's what I don't like about this Keenum thing. Look at the way things have gone the last couple of years. Nobody ever knows entering training camp who the starter is.
True.
Nobody feels good about their job. Everyone is looking over their shoulder. They've never given somebody like Paxton Lynch the reins.
No.
How can you judge a guy when he's doing spot duty in the midst of the whims of whatever the general manager thinks right now? And that brings me to I'm beginning to lose faith in John Elway, especially when it comes to the quarterback thing. When he was hired with the Broncos, I was elated. I thought, this is what God intended. And I still feel that way. But I don't think he's getting it done. What is Vance Joseph still doing here?
I know.
Listen,
he's a disaster area.
We're going to have to see what happens in the draft. If they don't go for a quarterback, which, obviously.
If they don't go quarterback in the top 5, I'm going to be so pissed.
Are there any quarterbacks over 6'5" in the
No.
No, I think they're all shorter.
Then he won't do it.
He won't do it.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what they do. If they don't do anything, you never know. Next year, there could be another crop of quarterbacks, and they're not going to be very good, so they could probably snag another one then. So,
well, will there be one over 6'5"?
Ooh, and then he's gonna,
then
then
he's
gonna,
going to
then
pull the trigger on it.
I just, man, I mean, you're right. Paxton Lynch probably didn't get a fair shake, but what's he going to do for the next 2 years? He's going to sit there and he's going to watch him. He's not going to get any better. They should just keep him to save face and then move the fuck on. Trevor Siemian
Gone today,
Gone.
right?
He's gone.
Minnesota?
He's in
It's awesome.
Minnesota.
Captain, listen, I told Captain Bronco, LA baby, who loves Trevor Siemian too. We're gonna have the trial of Captain Bronco next time we meet. We're gonna have the trial of because we're gonna prosecute him for his crimes of loving Trevor Siemian, and LA baby's gonna be his lawyer, and because she loves him too. So
Wow.
yeah, she gets to defend him.
I hope she wears that little number from the tile bathroom.
She can wear whatever she wants. So we're gonna have that coming soon. So you have a lot to look forward to. So let's get out of here.
Real quick.
Okay.
Yes, we'll close it up. The doom and gloom with the Broncos is going to go even deeper as time goes by because, as we've heard discussed in limited quantities in the local media, the team has no ownership structure.
Yep.
And God only knows how much longer Elway is going to be there, and God only knows who would come in if he doesn't. I think the next 5 years with the Denver Broncos are going to be quite a shitty experience, and the Broncos from the proud history since 1960 might be a thing of the past. I hope not.
So Broncos are rebuilding right now.
They're about to rebuild the organization from the fucking top down. From the top down.
I think Joe Ellis has probably been in charge of the ownership.
Until the kids decide, until Pat dies and the kids go, fuck off, Joe Ellis.
Yeah,
we want that money.
Yeah.
Because the money. It's the Boland's money.
Well, hey, look.
Joe Ellis works for them.
I'd be like, hey, look. I'm
wrong.
making the money. The money's coming in, right? They're not getting a check, right? They're getting money. And if Pat dies, when Pat dies, they'll be getting money. I'd just be like, hey, I don't want the fucking headache. Just give me the money. I'll watch. Can I have a nice seat for every Sunday? Then awesome. That's great. That's all I'd want. I don't want to run the fucking team. Fuck that. Sounds like a nightmare.
Well, they want to run the city. Blood of the city.
Blood of the city.
Ugh. It
Yes.
could be a big mess, guys. So enjoy your Rockies. And, hey, thanks for listening, everybody. And
I love your Rockies.
Avalanche,
Scott
Rockies. Not so much the Nuggets, but you got some good stuff to look forward to. So we'll get Scott back next summer. This summer after the Nuggets are done.
With Dave Logan.
With Dave Logan.
We should bring Susie Origin in too. Oh,
she's so.
Listen,
bringing the
if you
sports
get
in.
that many people,
Love
like I
Origin.
said, we're just going to go stand in the
That's fine.
corner and
That's
let them talk.
Well,
So
you can do it. You can do it.
then we'll bring them drinks. Like here's your drink, Mr. Logan.
And we'll get on mic when you say that.
That'd be awesome.
Then you'll feel good.
All right, let's get out of here. We went way over, but it was warranted, and we'll hopefully we'll have this Scott back next time. Maybe the next time too. We'll
God,
have
I
both
hope
Scotts.
so.
Who knows? We'll see what happens. Until next time, this has been the South Stands Denver Fancast. Adios.
We love you, Denver!
Love this song.
The parking lot. Never. Which?
That's definitely, that camera angle is fucking great. That looks really fucking good.
All right, I'm gonna bring this out. It's a good show. It's good times.
Well, could knock you out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, by the time you got here, we had already done a podcast with Hastings. That guy just talks.
Yeah.
He's just a fucking.
I got here early because I was like, I got to get there early and set up. And I was like, oh shit, everyone's here already.
Why did I set this shit up?
Yeah. I'm going to turn this off. Thank you for tuning in. It's been wonderful. We will.
Thank you.
We'll get back to you next time.
Dude, that turntable setup is the fucking